I think we're live. Are we live? I think I'm alive. I hope we're alive. I hope I'm live. I think I'm live. I see people in the chat. I see people in the chat. I see people already coming in. Why? Why? Because we got another comic journey influences interview. And this time we got a big guy. We got a guy that, you might say he's gem mint. We got a great guest coming up there today, and it should be a lot of fun. But first, this is what we do. We play our intro because that's how professional people do. They play intro. So here's the longest intro in the world. Well, well, looks like the show is about to start. We're about to start. And for all you people that complain that my intro is way too long, too bad. Too bad. I have a lot of people I need to feature in that intro, and there's so many more that need to be added in there. So we're going to make it even longer in the future. It's going to be a longer intro. And by the way, it's great for the algorithm to have like a freaking intro that's about 5 minutes long and makes everybody wait, and you build up the googly eyes in the sky. That's how we basically do it. But before we introduce our guest, before we introduce, your boy Jim Mint. Before we do that, I'm going to say a quick hello to everybody that's in the damn chat. At least that's in the chat for now. And then we'll stop the hellos. And let's start off with Durs. Hey, Durs, how you doing? Great to have you here. DJ Lynx. Okay. And we got Freaky Louie. My man, my crazy man that I did a show with on actual Dracula, doing casual Dracula. If you haven't seen it, you definitely got to see it. And we got, who else? We got K-pop, my mod extraordinaire, my left hand, right hand, or both hand helper extraordinaire. If it wasn't for her, I'd probably have a complete mess of a show every time with the moderation. So thank you, K-pop. Thank you. Who else we got over here? We got Comics by the Bay. Matt, Bebe. Thank you for joining us. We got the Comic Bookworm. Still hasn't eaten a comic, but hey. Thank you for joining us, Namin. Thank you. And we got my man, Mike, Evil Comics. Dastardly person. Probably the most evil person in the entire comic community, and I love him for it. And we got Dr. Van Hoot, the man with one of the most bizarre, perfectly bizarre names. Dr. Von Hoot's Comics from the Spiral Dimension. That's a mouthful. And Digger Jim, the man that gets not only digs for comics, he digs for gold as well. And who else we got? I think we got I think we got everybody that at least chatted. Okay, so that's it. No more hellos. Well, I'll save the rest of the hellos for the rest of the show after this. But just before I introduce our guest, I just want to give everybody a real heads up. A real heads up on what's going on with the Insomnia Comic Book Theater. The Insomnia Comic Book Theater intro contest. We got 2 more bonkers freaking submissions. They were freaking awesome. And you got to see what's going to happen. The last day of submittal is tomorrow. And everything that doesn't comes after tomorrow doesn't count. So if you really want to submit another one of these intros and be part of that contest, you got to send one in. Send it to my IG, or just send me a message and tell me you have one, and then we'll figure it out. Anyway, no more delaying, no more intro stuff, no more anything else. Hello, hi, Alea. All right, last hello. Okay, last hello. All right. We got with us our man, Gem Mint.
Hello.
Hello.
What up?
It's your boy, Comic Journey.
It's your boy, Gem Mint. Yo, I figured since you like to zoom in, we would zoom out for us.
Why is it everybody's got to freaking troll me somehow?
I mean, I don't know. I just thought that's what we were doing. I mean, we're going zoomed in. Comic Tom was zoomed in. I figured, you know what? We're going to zoom out on him and switch it up.
Well, at least you're not showing me your feet. You know, that's the only thing that somebody hasn't done to me yet. So
that's the thing for me. You're never going to see my feet ever.
That's it. You know, you're going to keep that. What are we looking at? Dr. Evil over here, or Claw from Inspector Gadget? You got that look. You got that vibe going on in your whole setup.
As far as what the whole scenario.
Yeah, the whole scenario. You're in the desk. You got your hands. You're like holding your hands like this. You're like,
I don't know what to do with my hands. If I'm talking, I feel like, you know, I have a lot of airspace right here. We're all zoomed out, so I can't really. Anyway.
Well, it's a good thing you cleared out. You can't fling and hit anything within your space. So you're in your special headquarters, Gem Mint headquarters over there.
True. We're in Gem Mint HQ. Yes, sir.
We're definitely going to talk about a little bit of that setup, because I actually love what you've been doing with that. That's your basement, right?
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's become like almost like a gallery. That's
what I was going for a museum vibe, but I wanted it to also be unique and, like, you know, be on theme with the colors, with the blue and all that. So that's what I was going for.
It's gallery. It's museum chic. Let's call it that.
I'm with it. I like it.
You bring different vibes to the whole man cave scenario, because this is definitely not a man cave scenario. But we'll get a little bit into that, because you went through a lot of work to get that thing set up. So do I call you Mint? Do I call you Gem Mint? Do I call you Mr. Gem Mint? Do I call you the Gem Mint? Do I call you Stefan? What would I call you?
So Steven is my name. Nobody calls me Steven on the internet. If you started calling me Steve, people are going to be watching like, who the hell is he talking to? So most people just call me Gem or Gem Mint. That's about it.
All right, so we'll call you Gem Mint so we could be proper. You know, I don't like to cut people's names off. You know,
I didn't go to 4 years of medical school to be called. Anyway,
Dr. Gem Mint. Oh, we'll make you
Gem Mint MD.
We could call you a gemologist. You know, the gemologist of comics.
Yo, when I first started the channel, I used to always give myself nicknames with Gem in the beginning of it. I would be like, "This is what were some of the names? I don't even remember." Commissioner Gem Gordon was one of them.
Oh my God!
It was Infinity Gem. There was a few.
Oh my God, you definitely got a lot of nerd in you too. I didn't realize you had that much nerd in you. I thought you were like a little bit past the nerdom that we all have. Commissioner Gem Gordon. I like that. I actually like that. That's actually, I might steal that. I don't know. I actually like that a lot.
Commissioner Comic Journey.
Yes. Well, you know, I am part of the Thank You Police. You know, I don't know if you realize what's going on here. I've been holding every single channel and everybody throughout the community accountable when they make videos. They need to say thank you at one point, or show their token appreciation for people watching their weird ass content. They have to say thank you or appreciate it or thanks or something along those lines. Where do you weigh in on that debate?
I end every video with a thank you.
Isn't that the nice thing to do?
Appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh and peace out. I had the same ending every video.
That's the proper thing to do, right?
I'm very proper. I'm a please and thank you in real life type of person. Actually, I'm an open door type of guy. So that's how I always look at it, man. Appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Watch my videos and find one where I didn't say thank you. You know what's funny about that, actually, too? So you mentioned behind the stage how my wife and I would do a lot of streams, Sunday live stream. We did it for years in a row. But recently, one of the most recent ones, when we were ending it, she accidentally said "love you," like she was on the phone with somebody. You know how you say it to your mother on the phone, like, "All right, I love you, bye." She said it to everybody watching. It was funny, man.
Hey.
I wasn't even mad. I was mad at it though. I was like, "Hey," and so it was kind of a joke that we did a couple times after that.
But you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Better I love you than I hate you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's basically how it goes, but it's just common courtesy. I'm just trying to make everybody have manners in some way or another. You can't force people to have manners, but you got to at least pretend that you have manners. That's the way I look at it.
Well, everybody can go to school, but you can't buy class. Well, how's it go? Something like that. Anyway,
I never heard that one, but yeah, you know what? Let's use it. Everyone could go to school, but you could go to school class.
Exactly. I think Jay-Z said it.
So all you improper, unclassy people, you know who you are. I'm not calling anybody out. At least not now. I'll call you out later on your own.
You got to keep it classy.
That's it. That's right. That's basically what we're doing. But tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about the Gem Mint. We talked about this a little bit backstage, and we figured out you're not from Central America. You're not from Northwest. You're not from the West. Right. You're an East Coast guy.
Yeah, I was born East Coast, born in Jersey. My family was from New Jersey, New York. They moved down to Florida in the late 80s, like a lot of Easterners did at that time. And I grew up in South Florida. And it wasn't until my adult years when we moved to West Texas, then we moved to Indiana. So we've been in a few different places after being in South Florida for my whole life. So, yeah, man.
Which makes you a little bit more cool in my book. I got my, I have my, a little bit of East Coast bias on my side.
Look, I'm an East Coast guy, but I'm a down South guy too. But Florida is more like the East Coast than it is the dirty South. The South is like Georgia, Alabama. Florida is like touristy. You know what I mean? But definitely East Coast at heart.
Well, let's face it. It's basically like a sixth borough of New York.
Exactly.
That's what it's turning into.
Yeah.
Go there now and see what's going on.
I heard it's got crazy, man.
We lost like 500,000 New Yorkers down to New York. So
I heard during the pandemic and everything. Yeah, man.
Let's see how long that lasts before Floridians go and revolt and get all the New Yorkers out of there. Let's see what happens at that point. But you grew up in the East Coast. You moved around a little bit. Yeah. And were you always a comic book fan? Were you always like a pop culture, into old nerdy stuff?
I was always into it as a kid. I think action figures really got me first, like He-Man action figures and Ninja Turtles. And then eventually the trading cards got me in the early 90s. The trading cards got me into comics. I loved the cards so much that I would go to the comic shop. But as a kid, I didn't have money. So when you go to a comic shop, yeah, it's cool, but you can't. What are you going to buy? One comic book, two comic books? And it was impossible to keep up with like stuff like X-Men, right? Or Spider-Man that had all these different titles. And it was confusing for me as a young kid. So I was into it, but then I kind of stuck more with the collectible aspect. With action figures, with trading cards. And then I wouldn't get back into comics until like after middle school and high school. During those years, I was doing regular teenage stuff. And then afterwards, I got back into it. And then I started picking up key issues, started picking up the omnibus, and then reading all the material that I was always into, but I could never afford it as a kid.
So if it sounds like from the timelines that you're giving me that you're probably a Gen Xer, kind of like me, or borderline millennial Gen Xer.
Well, they call us. I was born in '84. I don't really identify with the millennial term, but that's what they put on us. I feel like to be a millennial, you had to been born in the new millennium. But anyway, I was born in '84. They call me a millennium, but yeah, I'm about to be 40, man. 38 years old.
Try to stick to the Gen Xer. We're cooler. Trust me. Trust me. I got a couple of years on you, but we
were the last cool era, man. Before the internet, or right when the internet started, when we still had beepers and payphones, and we rode bikes around the neighborhood. I had a dope childhood though.
Well, you know what? you were kind of an 80s kid going into the 90s.
80s
So,
baby, 90s child for sure.
those were still cool decades. And you used to
Yeah.
collect the cards and stuff like that. You collected that original Marvel Universe set of
So
cards with the
what got
holograms
me
and everything.
what got me hooked was the Joe Jusko set, the 92 Marvel Masterpieces, and then I did end up getting all the Marvel Universe sets, and then I got into the Spider-Man stuff. I never got into the X-Men, like the Jim Lee. Everybody always brings that up. Oh, you remember the Fleer Ultra or whatever? But I actually never got into that. It was just like you said, the Universe cards, but it started with the Marvel Masterpieces.
Well, those are gorgeous cards, those Juice Gold cards. That's why
My
they just
favorite.
reprinted them all on covers,
Yeah.
last year or something like that.
Well,
I was just asking,
he just ended a Kickstarter for it. I'm waiting on them to ship it, man. I got that coming.
actually, that should, what, brand new stuff or like original stuff reprinted?
It's something to do with the 1992 set. I don't know exactly what it is, some kind of gallery, and it looks like they might have even, like, I don't know, removed the backgrounds. They have these white backgrounds. I'm interested to see what it's going to be.
So let me ask you something. You went from comics, cards, and you got yourself into statues and omnibuses. You gotta be a rare breed to start collecting the amount of statues you collected in your life and omnibuses, because this stuff takes up a lot of space.
Yeah.
A lot of space. Like what made you like flip from the smaller collectibles into actual like mausoleum pieces?
Well, I fell into the omnibus format. I was collecting key issues at the time. I was buying like Spider-Man keys. I was buying stuff, sending it to CGC. Then I started buying and selling. And then I ended up at one point selling all of my key issues. And I got an Amazing Fantasy 15. And I had a CGC. It was 1.5. And then I came across the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1 omnibus in the comic shop. And I was like, what the hell is this? It collects issues 1 through 30 plus the first 2 annuals. And I was like, yo, all the keys that I'm collecting, I can read all those issues in this book right here. So I picked it up, and I wasn't quite hooked yet. Like, I liked it. And then I was looking at like my single issues that I had. I had them in these white short boxes, and I had them in like a big bookcase. And I'm like, man, these white boxes look so boring. I would much rather have a whole collection of these omnibus. So I went back. I got the Infinity Gauntlet omnibus. I read it front page to back page, and I was like, yo, this not only collects Infinity Gauntlet, it collects Thanos Quest, it collects every single tie-in, all those Silver Surfer tie-ins, all the stuff that I used to be able to see on the shelves as a kid, but again, can't buy everything as a kid. So that's when I fell in love with it, and I started selling off the collection that I had. I ended up selling the Amazing Fantasy 15, and I was obsessed with buying omnibus. I'm like, yo, you could have all this history on your shelf forever. It could be like your retirement plan. When you're done working, you could just sit back and read everything and reread things. So I really fell in love with that format. And to this day, man, it looks great on the shelf. They're printing more and more. They're reprinting a lot of stuff that was hard to get for people that are newer into the hobby. And then I got into the statues kind of like a little bit during that time.
You know what? That actually gives me an impression that you're actually more of a, I don't like to classify people as true fans or real fans or that kind of thing, but you are more of a hardcore reader, because collecting the omnibuses, one, is smart because you're actually saving yourself a shitload of money than buying the original key issues of a lot of these series.
Yeah.
But two, you actually get them and enjoy them, actually read them. How many people that just collect comics, they never even open the book, to keep it in a piece of plastic or send it to CGC, put it in a case, and never even know what the story is about?
Well, it's funny that you say that, though. And I feel myself talking loud, but I have a mic in front of me. I'm trying not to talk so loud.
Well, you're in a cave right now.
It's funny that you say that, because if you ask a hardcore reader if Gem Mint is a hardcore reader, they would say, hell no, that guy doesn't know shit. This guy, he doesn't even read his books. But if you ask like a statue collector, they'll be like, yo, Gem Mint knows, man, he reads all those books. So I would consider myself a collector first. I'm more of a collector, but I do like to read as well. And I try to read as many of the omnibus as I can. There's obviously still a huge backlog of my collection I haven't read, but I look at it like I could always read that whenever I want, or if I want to do a review on it, I could read it and review it. But I do appreciate and love the source material. When I fell in love with the characters via the trading cards, I wanted to read the stories. So I still feel that way, and that's why I still love that format.
And you have actually seen your reviews a lot of times on the omnibus. You sit and read the material. I could
Oh
tell
yeah.
that it's not a situation you're just reading it just to make a video out of it. You read it
Oh
because
yeah.
you liked it, and you felt that it was
Right.
either good enough or bad enough to actually talk about.
Sometimes bad is makes better for a video, right?
Bad is, you know what? People love drama. That's
That's
basically
true.
people love stuff to hate. People love stuff to like
But why do we love that as human beings? You know, it's like why do we? I don't know. It riles us up, man.
because we're wretched animals. That's why
I agree.
we're the worst animal in the world. That's basically what it comes down
But
to.
we try to have manners.
Yeah, we have to have manners. That's the
Gotta
only
have
thing that
manners.
differentiates us. We, we got manners and we wear clothes. Other than
Yes,
that,
sir.
we're wild animals. We're the
We
wildest
are.
animals in the animal kingdom.
That's
So
true.
you went from the collecting cards into omnibuses into statues. Now the
Yeah.
statue thing is a big deal, like a really big deal as far as not only being able to have the storage space to take care of,
Yeah.
but there's a different sort of maintenance that you have to have with these statues, especially if
Yeah.
you have displayed. You got to sit there and dust them and take care of them.
Mhm.
Make sure that you have them on the proper lighting so they don't discolor, right? Like I'm sure that if you don't have the proper lighting in
Well, you don't
your
want to have it in like direct sunlight for sure or something like that. It's almost like how you would treat a comic book. But yeah, man, like there's a lot more into just buying it because they're bigger pieces. You got to have somewhere to put it. You know, if you destroy the box, you pretty much diminish the value of the piece now. You know, so yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
and how far do you like how often do you rotate through your I know that you can't keep everything. There's no way you're going to keep everything that you
True.
buy. How often do you
So
like
yeah.
rotate through your collection? Like every couple of years, you say, okay, now I'm gonna get rid of all this and I'm gonna bring in new stuff. Like, how does that
Always.
work?
My collection is always rotating and recycling, and that's what makes it fun for me because they're always making new stuff. But like you said, you know, space and funds, it's not unlimited, so you have to let some things go. I don't really have a rule where I'm like I have to own this for 1 year or I have to own this for 6 months. I usually, buy things for a reason and I sell them for a reason. I might be like, okay, you know what, we're gonna switch gears and do this kind of theme. So I don't really need these anymore. I can sell those and I can help fund the new stuff. And that's what I've been doing on the channel for like the last 5 years.
I mean, it only makes sense. You
Yeah.
can't have everything unless you're um, very well off.
Yeah.
One and two, you're a hoarder. You have to have both tendencies working at the same time. You have to be well off and you have to be a hoarder in order to have the space to be able to
Yeah.
display everything, and you have to have that mentality that I want everything. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. The FOMO has to build up in you completely, where you can't miss one piece or whatever the case is, and we
I
all
put,
have
I,
it to a certain
I,
extent.
I'll put it like this. Like I have a lot of space now, but I ran out of space and I have stuff in boxes. So I'm like, okay, stuff's got to go. If we don't have room with all the space we just created for ourselves, it's time to get rid of some stuff. So for anyone that follows me on Instagram, you might see me do a story post where I'm selling statues, this or that. It's just like I don't need stuff just sitting in a box in the storage area. We got to move stuff in, move stuff out.
And it must be like annoying as far as the shipping and everything like that. Everybody complains about shipping costs when it comes to comics and stuff like that. I can't even imagine how much it costs you every time you're sending a statue, especially these bigger things that you put together.
Yeah, shipping can be expensive, and some of these pieces have two boxes that are two big, huge refrigerator boxes. Luckily, I don't know with statues because you could go UPS ground. You might run anywhere from like I don't know, as low as $30 to as much as like $150, like kind of depending on how big the dimensions really is what kills you. If you have something over a certain amount of like cubed dimensions, they hit you with some crazy fee. So
And
that
what's
happens every
made
now
out
and
of
then.
too, right? As far as how heavy it could be and that kind of thing.
The weight stops playing a factor after a little while. It becomes more of the dimensions. If it's over like 70 inches or something like that, I don't know, something like that. Don't quote me, but you know what the thing that's funny about statues is sometimes it's easier to ship in a sense because they come with their own styrofoam. All the pieces go back in their spots. You tape the styrofoam, it goes in its own shipper box. You don't have to source any kind of packing supplies or find a box. So in that sense, they're kind of easier to ship, which is pretty ironic.
And basically, you just got to make sure that you put good padding around it in order not to dent or scratch.
Nah, not even, because the styrofoam box is what protects it, and it has its own outside. It has an art box and a shipping box. Like it's designed in such a way where it ships that way. Anyway, it's easier and it's protected.
I'll take your word for it.
Take my word for it.
I'm not even going to attempt to take on that challenge of buying and reselling and touching statues. I have a couple of statues. I like them, and that's it. I don't want to deal with that. It's
see, but here's my problem. See, where I say I'm a collector first. Ever since I was a kid, man, my parents got me He-Man action figures for Christmas or whatever. We celebrated Christmas and Hanukkah, and I remember flipping on the back and seeing all the other characters that you could buy. And ever since then, as a kid, I was like, I got to have all of these. The same with Ninja Turtles, right? You flip it on the back, you have all the characters from that whole line. And that's like when I remember my collecting bug really kicking in. I'm like, yo, I need to have all of these characters. And then when I got into a little bit older, how do I get all of these, with, how do I afford to buy all these? And how do I collect all these on my own? And that kind of turned into the buying and selling aspect early on.
All right. So you mentioned He-Man, Masters of the Universe a couple times already.
Yeah.
What do you think of what Kevin Smith did with the Netflix series?
I didn't watch it. I just wasn't really interested in it. I actually can't really go back and enjoy the original cartoon either, to be honest with you. It kind of didn't really age well as an adult, but I really love the characters, have nostalgia attached to it. But I also am not really a fan of fake outrage, like people that try to just capitalize off of not liking something as well. I'm not really into that. But I just never got it. I just didn't interest me enough to see what the reboot was like. And what's funny is that I always liked Kevin Smith. Like Mallrats was always one of my all-time favorite movies, especially with the comic book tie-ins back in the day. But yeah, I understand that there was a lot of backlash with that show and everything too.
Oh, there was definitely a lot of backlash, and I can tell you something. You're a smart man for not watching the series because you actually have the nice nostalgic feeling of He-Man, and it stayed the same way without having to have it ruined.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Sure.
You remember He-Man in the animated series, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
What did you think when the movie came out? Because if you said you're a little bit older, you might have looked at that movie like, what the hell is this, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely awful. I didn't think Dolph Lundgren was a horrible choice.
No. Or Skeletor.
I just thought the movie was horrible.
I first of all, as a kid, I loved it as a kid, knowing it was a bad movie. But I was like, why did they make new villains and not use the existing villains that we already have the toys from? They had like that witch-looking character and the guy with the blades or whatever.
That's exactly how I felt. Like, give me my Merman. Give me my...
Where's Moss Man? Give me Beast Man or somebody. Yeah, well, they might have had Beast Man, but yeah, there was a lot they could have chose from.
They made it like, bringing it to like our world and keep it in Eternia. Keep it He-Man. It's just He-Man. Should have been like almost like a Conan the Barbarian meets sorcery kind of
Conan and Outworld from Mortal Kombat or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of stuff from that era. A lot of people complain about some of the MCU movies that come out right now and how
looking like that, looking like they're in Outworld.
But they don't realize how bad could get. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I always like the memes. That's like when in our years, superhero comics didn't even necessarily have to be about a specific comic. It was just some random story they made up and slapped a superhero that you know on it.
That's exactly it. I mean, it's. We're always going to have the critics, the haters, the lovers. Some stuff, some IP definitely deserves the hate, and some of them, it's judged too harshly for no reason. So it is what it is. I mean, Roger Corman's Fantastic Four is one of those examples that people love to hate. I don't know if you've seen that, but
the 90s movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I tried to get through it. I think I had downloaded it one time, but that and the Captain America from the 90s movie, like I think I've had them on in the same room as them before, but I don't know how much I was really invested into it. It was pretty bad, both of them.
You can't get through them. Tell me, you got to have a saint of a wife. to put up with all this stuff that you bring in and out of the house. And I mean, you had a particularly long journey. I mean, people
Yeah.
look at you as like you popped up overnight. You didn't
Right.
pop overnight.
Hell
This,
no.
this was like a process of
Yeah.
you building up a brand, building up Gem Mint on
Yeah.
social media, on YouTube, on IG,
Yep.
and going from being that, starting with those clunky older videos to developing into something that's a lot more polished and actually being one of the staples of our comic community as far as what people try to emulate and copy, which is a good thing. I always
Well,
like
hey, look,
to.
and I took a lot of inspiration from a lot of channels too that came before me, and what's cool about it is if for anybody that follow me on Instagram, it started on Instagram with nothing. We started with nothing, and I just built it from there and then to YouTube. So like, there's people that I rock with to this day from those early Instagram days that we still talk, and it's like crazy to see how much has changed since those early days. And that was probably like, that was like 9 years ago now. I think it was like 20. Well, it was like probably 2014. I think is when I first started the Gem Min account on Instagram. Yo, somebody needs to boot this guy, man. This is my biggest hater, Comic Tom 101.
Well, we saw there was a little bit of beef in IG.
Yeah,
In
man.
the
Because this
comments.
guy, man, he's on the West Coast. He calls me at 3:00 in the morning, his time. I'm an East Coast guy. I'm in bed sleeping. I'm older, and he just thinks that he could just boss anybody around. And we're not having it anymore.
Well, we got into this a little bit with Ryan the other night.
Yeah, I
As
heard.
far as if we needed to put together some kind of death match, and I don't mind being a promoter of that. I always love to profit off of people's pain. So if you guys are willing to get into a match, maybe in a cage, or we could electrify everything around you guys, or put it on fire. Anything you guys are up to. You think you could take on Tom? You could take him out?
But here's the thing with Comic Tom. You might look at his videos and think that he's like a little guy. He's really not that little. He's got the height. He's got some mass to him. I don't know, man. I think it's gonna come down to if I get close to him, it's over.
I think he can outrun you. I don't know if he could take you on muscle wise.
But he might be quick, man. If he gets in quick with like a low kind of duck, who knows, man? You never know. I wouldn't count him out.
Well, I think you're being a little bit modest. You hear that, Tom? You hear that, Tom?
He's
Jem's
a little
got
guy
your
and he's
number.
quick.
You're quick and you're squirrely, but once he's got you in his hands, he's gonna crush you like a piece of coal and turn you into a diamond. He's gonna do that. But we're gonna see. One day we'll get you guys into the ring and we'll start comic community death matches. It worked really well for MTV for a while, so I think we need to bring that back. So we'll see where that goes. So as far as you going from that IG to putting together YouTube material, what gave you inspiration? What channels actually were you watching that actually gave you that inspiration to emulate or to try to do similar stuff to?
Yeah, so for sure. So first of all, I found these channels because I had started collecting omnibus and I started collecting statues. So I searched YouTube to see if anybody had, would do reviews of the statues, or if anybody had omnibus videos. So I knew what omnibus were out there, because there's not like a checklist, So for the omnibus side, I ended up finding a few people that they ended up forming a group channel called Omni Bros, and it was like Gabe, Luis, the Omni Dog, and Riley, and they were like the first ones to do the omnibus stuff on YouTube that I've ever seen. And then on the statue end, I found this channel called Cartel from Hell. Now, Cartel from Hell was a super cool, smooth guy, and I felt like he was more like me, where I guess you would say like he was more on like, he wasn't like nerdy with it, you know what I'm saying? And he would review these statues, and I was like, yo, I could do that. I could do unboxing videos. I'll set up my display, and I'll do the omnibus stuff because I like collecting that as well. And then it just kind of grew from there. So those were the channels that really inspired me. And when I started the channel, I liked the idea of having a variety channel where it might be omnibus, statues, weekly comics, trailer reactions, movie reviews. Like, I liked that at first. And one of the things that I really disliked about those channels that I found is that they didn't put out content every day, and I was watching their stuff on the way to and from work. So I was like, when's this guy gonna put out another video? If I ever start a channel, I'm gonna put a video out every single day, and that was like my my mission statement. That was my goal, and I put out videos every day for like years straight.
That's impossible to keep up, especially if you keep the content and the production rate up. It's
Right.
impossible to put out something really good every single day, right?
Hell yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible for me to make a viral video every day because the videos that I have that have kind of gone outside of that normal, viewer range have been like, some huge elaborate statue or just some unique idea that I had that you can't replicate that every day. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I stopped doing content every day, because I'm like, I don't want to put stuff out anymore just to put it out. I want it to really be worthwhile, so I'm trying to work on that. Even to this day, I just did a video today that was kind of like not really the normal type of video that I would do, but I was like, I feel like this video is going to take off. And so far it's doing pretty good. So I don't know. I'm experimenting right now in 2023, man, with the channel and YouTube, because they're always changing their algorithm and the way that they promote videos to viewers. So you got to really adapt with YouTube. It's not necessarily the same formula it was when I first started,
Well, you definitely changed a lot in your channel, especially this past year. I've seen a lot of segments and a lot of different programs that you were doing previously.
Yeah.
You either cut them out or you diminished how many videos of that type could come out. At one point, you actually hadn't put out a statue video or omnibus statue in a very, very long time, which I think a lot of people were missing. I'm glad that you started putting them out on more of the regular. So that's pretty good. It's probably because of your moving situation, stuff like that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. We had a lot going on the end of last year. And because we were buying a house, I didn't really want to have a lot of expenses and buy a lot of things because, they check they check all your stuff, So I didn't want to, I was kind of really tight. And then our closing date was like 3 months from the day that we agreed to buy it. So like I had to be like good, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't really buy a lot of stuff for a long time. And the statue thing and all that is naturally as it comes in. I don't buy stuff just to make a video for it and that's it. Like it has to be something that I legitimately liked and I'm waiting for and it happens to ship. And then sometimes a lot comes in and sometimes it doesn't come in. So if you see me do videos that is not with a physical item that I'm reviewing, it's because, man, nothing's coming in. So I'm just making a video with like an idea that I had, like a top 10 list or something.
Well, you must you must have a super great realtor to actually advise you not to make those extra expenses during that time period of buying, right?
I agree. This is my second time buying a house, so I learned that on the first go around, and I just believed them. I didn't like want to test that out. You know what I'm saying? So don't make any extreme purchases or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I learned that just from the first time, and then this time around, it just sucked that we agreed to it. The sellers wanted like 3 months to find a house and move, and we just really wanted this house, so we agreed to it. But that was a huge stressful part of last year, man, because like. I don't know, just that long. I don't advise you to agree to long closing dates like that.
Well, it depends, circumstances. If you really want the house and it really fits your needs, and you do have the ability to go through that.
And we had specific needs. Like I really wanted this space, and I wanted it to be all in the basement so that it wasn't like overflowing into the main house and everything. So it was worth it. The house was everything that we needed it to be. So we waited.
Oh, that's good stuff. But you did cut out some other stuff, though. That's interesting. We did talk about a little bit of this backstage. You haven't been doing a lot of the live streams with your wife, which I think was a really popular segment that you were doing on Sundays. Got a little bit, we got to know a little bit of the Gem Mint behind the scenes.
For sure.
Less scripted. You and your wife had a good synergy working on. I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that. You think that's going to be coming at some point?
Yeah, I do think so. I think that we're finally getting out of like this renovation phase that we've been doing. And I still have stuff down here that's not done. And it's just hard to kind of put so much more on our plate. I think it'll all come back. I know talk about the weekly comic book day reviews. I could see all that coming back shortly. So it's not something that I'm like, we're done doing that. It just kind of fell behind on it, and then just trying to get through so much that we had going on around the house, man.
I mean, at one point you were doing with Robbie as well. There was
Yeah.
a good synergy going on with that. But
Yeah.
as far as the new comic book day reviews and that kind of thing, what do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like that is something that it brings value to the community, or something that you feel that it kind of falls in with a ton of other channels that do the same kind of content of like weekly books that came out and reads and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff?
Well, I don't think there's that many other people doing it. I do feel like Robbie's the best one at it. Like that's why I did those videos with him, because I was such a fan of him, and I loved how I loved his takes. I loved his memory, you know, and how he would describe books with art and with the story as well, because I was always big on that too. I do think it provided value. I mean, there's people that comment every day about that still, but it just kind of I guess I just kind of got burnt out, man, reading comics every week and having to stay on top of it. It's just it could be a lot, man. And then if it becomes unenjoyable, it's like, what are we doing this for, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot to keep up with. I mean, just in this chat, there were a few people that are asking about the new comic book
Yeah, I
day,
saw,
videos, but there's a lot to keep up with on a weekly basis. Some weeks a lot more than others. And let's be honest, there's a lot of crap that's printed out and published every week.
I'm tired of reading stuff that I don't like to read either, man. Like a lot of that is getting tired. I wanted to really explore shorts a little bit and maybe do like something with the weekly comics, not like reviewing every single book, but maybe like, yo, this new issue #1, what's it about? And do something more, I don't know. So it's not just this big long thing, you know? Like a single issue short review or something.
Well, I think that would probably work for you better, and maybe for the audience better, because you'll actually be enjoying what you're doing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe I was even thinking about if I do it based off of like Dark Web. Once Dark Web's complete, okay, let's read Dark Web and do like a short, or maybe it could be a full review at that point. So I'm thinking ways on how to bring it back, but I don't think I'm going to be bringing it back in the same way that I had it though.
It'll be a little more condensed and kind of highlighting this stuff, either the best and the worst, or something like that. Or
exactly, something like that.
It makes a lot of sense that way. But you have been doing a lot of stuff with Comic Tom. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but you've been,
man.
But you've been.
If I never signed this contract with him, I would never. No, I'm joking. Yo, me and Tom.
How do you get you to agree to doing this?
Because when I first heard of him, I was just so impressed with his production quality. I always liked variant comics and how their production quality and how they had a set, and that's kind of what I wanted to do here as well. Like I wanted to make myself a set, and he had that great production quality. And he asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, hell yeah. I wanted to be a part of something that had good data and it had a good production quality and it had entertaining hosts. So I felt like it was worth doing. I felt like he built his audience and I've built my audience. So if we can share our audience and both grow together, that would be a win-win. And we did that. And we've been doing it for, I think, almost 3 years now. Like literally, I think I missed one video out of every week for 3 years, including us traveling and shit. And then the Whatnot thing came up, and me and him are doing that together, doing a lot of things. It's been a great relationship, man. And he's a real good guy, man. Like I always tell people, what you see on the video is you're looking through a keyhole on the whole experience, man. You're not even getting half of it. So he's a good dude, man. Like people like, you know what's funny, when me and him are together and we're walking through a convention or something, like he's the superstar. People knock me down, Comic Tom. This shit is funny, man. But that's my guy.
Does he really have as much energy as he shows on the screen? As
he is
freaking Mr. Energy.
That's him in real life. That's him in real life.
Crap,
he is not faking or fronting. That's just how he is. But I've seen him from morning to night. When he's burnt out, I'm like, dog, you gave 200% today, man. You need to just stop for the rest of the day, bro.
Yeah, he's constantly. The first time I saw him, I saw this like bombastic guy just flailing his arms around and being excited. I'm like, this can't be true. This got to be an act. And then I watched another video and another video, another video. I'm like, you can't like just fake this kind of energy. He's got to have some kind of level of energy to bring it up there.
But I always like
to work with.
But I always liked Tom too, because I felt like he was the real deal, man. The whole born in the back of a comic shop, and then you meet Comic Pops. Comic Pops is the real deal, man. I hung out. I had moments with Comic Pops. Like the whole fam and the team is great, man, for sure.
Well, he's an OG dealer. You know, you
Yeah.
guys could learn probably a lot from him. That
So we walked through Emerald City. Was it Emerald City with him or wherever? Yeah, I think Emerald City Comic Con, and people that they grew up with booths still there with booths. You know, and like it's a whole family affair. That's what I loved about it.
definitely good. I told him when he was on, he's like a legacy guy. You know, like generation to generation.
Yeah, for sure.
You might be a
for real.
legacy guy. Your kid might be a legacy going forward.
Technically, my daughter, she's a published artist.
Yeah.
She got a comic book coming out this month, man. She got a cover G for Deja Thoris versus John Carter of Mars 1.
And her first book was what, a Red Sonja, I think.
Yeah, it was a Immortal Red Sonja 1, and it was an exclusive variant that we did. So we did 2 exclusives, and then this is the first one that's like just out in stores.
How proud must you be to have to see your kid getting her work published like that?
Man, I geek out. Like, I'm like a fan. I'm a fan of her, but she is like, she just does it for me. She doesn't really have the hunger. Like her life goal is to become a comic book artist. Like I got to be like, come on, Jay, man, just knock this out. I know that you'll do a good job. And she'll do it like, all right, fine, Dad, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I'm a fan, man. I'm probably her biggest fan for sure.
How old is she?
She just turned 18 a couple months ago.
18 years old, and she's
hold on,
published work.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
It's all about who you know, baby.
You know what? It is all about, you know. And if you do anything to help promote your kid and help their career, hey, more power to you. I would do the same thing for my kids. You know, but at the same time, it kind of helps if your kid has a little bit of talent, and she does.
No, you got to have the talent, and then, you know, for anyone that's an artist, I would just say, man, you got to really work on getting your stuff out there as much as working on your talent, because it's not necessarily the best artists that get published. There's probably artists that are so great but we just never see their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to figure out how to get your stuff out there.
Oh, trust me. Every new comic book day, we have a lot of signs of not the best artists that are published. We got
how, right? You know, I always, and then, you know, I do like these reviews of 90s comics. I love 90s comics, man. Like McFarlane, Spider-Man, and all that. I'm like, yo, they really cared about not only the art in each panel, but they cared about the page layout and the paneling and popping off from one panel to the next. It's like you open a modern book and it's like they're just filling in the squares. It's not even fun, you know?
It's because everything's going digital, and it's going more about how fast you could pump out the content rather than taking the extra time to be able to put something. You don't have as many delays as you did back in the 90s with some of the art actually coming in, but there's a reason why. There's quality differences.
There's still a lot of great modern artists that do their thing too, but I guess, you know, you remember the bad stuff, I think, mostly.
No, absolutely. You know,
like who works on Daredevil? Was it Chichetto? Was it, or he was really good? There's still good ones that work though.
No, I mean, there's some of the best cover artists that probably ever
for sure
drew in the industry going on right now.
No, I agree. Cover artists, that's a different story, and that's a good point though. That could be why variants are such a popular thing, because you're really buying the cover, which was always a thing. Isn't that funny? Like the covers were always meant to be catchy, even back in the day, right? So that you would grab that one off the shelves. But now it's almost taboo if somebody likes the comic because of the cover. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely get that. You know, if the cover attracts you, even the inside is mediocre, it'll make you a lot happier going down the line. But you know, you got to have the attraction. You got to get the cover appeal. It's just like anything. You want to get are you going to buy that piece of gum that's wrapped in a generic
advertising, right?
That's going to pop. You know, it's all packaging or marketing and that kind of thing. But I just noticed a comment. I'm really not going to get to the questions until a little bit towards the end of the interview. But there was one thing that I wanted your impressions of as far as Whatnot Publishing. What do you think? What do you think of what they're doing now? What they've accomplished until now, and do you see them being a real viable publisher going down the line?
Okay, cool question, man. I'm completely impressed with what Whatnot did, It doesn't surprise me with the app. Like the reason why I even messed with them to begin with is because I saw the app, I tried it, and I'm like, yo, this is so much more efficient than what I'm doing on YouTube as far as auctions, right? So the app didn't surprise me. It really does surprise me how it's become like a household name within the comic book industry. And I think Whatnot Publishing, if they do stuff like they're doing with the Exiled, and you have like big names attached to it, you got Wesley Snipes. I mean, I think that they do have a chance to do something there. I think the Wesley Snipes book is big, and then they have these like homegrown books like what Ninja Funk and like even Comic Tom. He's writing Crash Down with Fire Guy, great artist on the book, Ben Templesmith. But I think the fact that they are also going to have those big name tie-ins, it has potential. I'm not going to sit here and say it's a guaranteed thing. They're going to be a huge success. How would I know? You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like those types of books that'll get like more national attention is a good look.
I'm actually rooting for them to be a viable competitor, because the more competition that's out there, it basically forces everybody to bring their A game into the mix. So we'll see exactly what happens. The quality, the paper is good. The printing is good as far as that's concerned. But you did mention one specific comic that's been quite controversial throughout the community. And I you don't have to answer this, but I ask this to everybody. I know that you've done your exclusives on it. Ninja Funk.
Yeah.
Did you read it prior to actually agreeing to do the exclusive? And after you did read it, what were your thoughts?
I read it as it came out, like everyone else. Okay. And I mean, no matter what I say, it's gonna sound like there's bias there, because JPG, he sponsors my channel, like, and he's been a good friend of me for years. But when I read it, I legitimately felt like, oh, this is fun. It feels like a Kevin Eastman kind of Ninja Turtles aesthetic, but then you have like this unique storyline, tuning in with music and the frequency and all that stuff. So like, I definitely didn't think it was whack. I can see if people don't like it, if that's not their preference. But I was like, okay, man, they made a dope comic, and it's a 4-issue miniseries, and it's kind of like if you and your friends made a comic book, like, JPG is a character in the book. Like, it's supposed to be a fun thing. I don't think it's meant to be like this is the new Alan Moore. You know what I'm saying?
So you took it like as just, it is what it is. It's a self-published kind of book through Whatnot, and it made somebody's dream come true, basically. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a brand that he's been building, and he's producing variants, doing the homages. Like, I totally respect it. Like, if anybody who knows me, they know, like, I respect it more than anything else. So yeah, they made it. Friends that grew up together made a comic book. There you go.
All right. You know what? I'll take that as an answer, because everybody's had mixed opinions about it. Some people hate it. Some people despise it. Me,
well, I think despise.
I'm confused by it.
Is it despised by the story and the art?
I think it's just the fact that it's so counter what they're used to in a comic that they can't really take it in for what it is.
See, the thing is, when I was doing the weekly comic book day reviews, the indies, you never know what you're going to get. You're going to get abstract stuff like Decorum from Jonathan Hickman. Like, when I read that book, I didn't feel like this is totally different than anything I've ever read. I kind of felt like it felt like an indie book. It felt like something that Image would publish, even maybe Boom Studios or something like that. It doesn't feel like a Marvel or DC book, but it definitely felt like an indie book to me.
It definitely felt like an indie book, and that's why I took a look at it with different eyes from the indie perspective, because I read a ton of indie stuff.
I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna tell you, when doing the new comic book day reviews, there was a lot of stuff that I couldn't even finish reading. I was like, yo, I can't do it. And I did not have that problem with Ninja Funk. And I don't even think I reviewed it. I didn't want the bias there, but it wasn't like this terrible story that has disgusting art. I thought it was cool, man. That was cool.
The art was funky. It was like a psychedelic kind of look for me.
They got a whole thing where you're supposed to play it alongside with music, and it kind of goes. I can't listen to stuff while I read, so I was like, I'm not going to try that. But there's thought put into it, man, for sure.
There definitely was thought. I just I went in with a different impression. I thought it was going to be something else. Like, I thought I was going to get like a whacked out, almost like a 80s feel, kind of indie underground book feel to it, and it was something completely different. So it took a lot for me to process that book. So I didn't hate it. It confused me. That's
Okay.
that's basically where I left at, and we'll not harp on that because anything that you read and any art, any writing is subject to the individual that's reading it.
100%.
Everybody's going to
Yeah.
have their opinions, whether they like it or hate it. But I will say this much: you guys had a ton of freaking, not only you, but throughout the entire Whatnot community. I don't think I've seen more covers for a comic than that book, and everybody jumped on that. So I'll
Yeah.
give you guys credit for actually putting together something that.
Don't say you guys. I didn't have nothing to do with it, but
Well,
but I see what he did, man. Like if you know who JPG is and you know his business, it's like, yo, I don't know. I respect
I
it. That's all I'm
give
gonna
him
say.
credit. I give him credit for putting out a product that sold a lot.
Right.
That's
Yo, he made
unproven,
that's
unproven commodity.
exactly he mastered it. Like you created your own product. You already had a distribution network. You made it fun and cool, and then you got these homages. Doing everybody was loving the homages. I'm sure people say it's overdone now, but homages that you always wanted to see with characters you created. I love it, man. I love the Tyler Kirkham Spider-Man 1 homage with the JPG character. Shit is dope.
I'm surprised you didn't have a cover of Gem Mint like swinging from the rooftops or like smashing through the rocks or anything like that. A couple
Yeah.
other Whatnot members actually did that stuff. You ever get those thoughts of actually doing exclusive with you, like Hulk
So
smashing or?
I used to always want to put I always used to have back in the day more so. I used to have that like, oh, I want to be on a cover of a comic book. I want to be in a comic book. I don't really feel like that anymore. I don't really have that want. And I did end up on a cover. Javon Jordan, Illest Illuminati, put me on the cover of one of his variants, which was super dope. He reached out to me and he was like, "Yo, I want to put you on the cover. Send me a picture." So I was like, "Cool, man." So that was kind of that was dope because that wasn't something that I produced to sell. You know what I'm saying? That was something that somebody else did. But I don't know. Maybe one day in the future, I don't know. Have Gem Mint holding Comic Tom like Amazing Fantasy 15, saving him.
Well, I think you might be jumping into his territory. That might cause the death match that we were talking about right now. I think he wants to be the Spider-Man. We'll see. We'll see who gets the Spider-Man rights on that one.
whoever wins the death match.
So you basically went from this whole journey from content creator, trader, broker, trader. What would be the best name for you as far as a statue? I don't really think a seller is the proper name for it. It's almost like a broker, almost like an art collector that's in a gallery that's exchange dealer. What's the best word to label you as far as
definitely not a deal, definitely not a dealer, definitely not a retailer. I'm just a collector that likes to share his collection. I've always been of the mentality that the hobby should fund itself. So you're going to see me in order to get new stuff that I want, get rid of old stuff. And that just so happened to help, this recycling process, continue to move forward and be able to make content off of it as well, which is kind of like, the added bonus to it,
Aficionado. That's a great
I'll
word.
take aficionado. I could take that. No, you did mention something earlier, but then we got off it somehow about having like a wife that is supportive to it.
Yeah, you jumped. It helps, right? It helps big time to have a wife.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You know what's funny? She catches amnesia about this. She swears that this never happened. But when we both were working and I started to get back into collecting, I started buying stuff and she started noticing packages coming almost every day because I had found out about eBay and I had a regular job and I had like a little bit of disposable income. So I started buying back stuff that I remembered. And then she's like, "Yo, what is all this, man? We're both working, but you're the only one getting stuff, right?" So at first, she was a little apprehensive. I eventually would sell some stuff like I always do. And once she saw that, she was like, "Oh, okay, I see what you're doing now." And eventually, she actually gave me the inspiration on being self-employed. She wanted to leave work and be a stay-at-home mom. And I was like, "I don't know how you think we're going to do that with the budget, the way that it's looking." But she figured it out. She's like, if we do this, that, boom, 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 boom. And she became a stay-at-home mom in 2013. So after she did that, I was like, dang, how do I do that? How do I free myself? You know what I'm saying? To be able to just do something like this full time. And then I was able to do that like midway through 2021, where it finally got to the point where it's like, okay, now I can leave the workforce and we can keep up with everything how we got it.
Well, tell me a little bit more about that, actually, because you got to have a huge set of balls to say, I'm stopping. You worked at an electric company, right? Before this?
For 15 years. Shout out to, I don't want to give the name, but shout out to them. I still, I
Pension.
still have, I still show them love, man. I learned a lot. I learned a lot
You,
about dealing with people. You know what I mean? And
you were with a
I learned
union,
did I have
right?
no, I was not a union because I wasn't an electrician. I just worked inside customer service, but
Okay.
I worked my way up from just somebody taking phone calls to managing employees and everything. So I learned a lot of life skills there. But yeah, I
You
worked
did,
there 15 years.
and a steady paycheck.
Oh yeah. For 15 years and raised a family because my wife and I, we had kids young. We had our kids at 19 and 20, and then we had another one 4 years later. So we were like a young couple with kids, but we both worked at the power company, and I would eventually move up and up. So life got a little bit better as the years went on, but it was a struggle at first.
Yeah, but it's a big step to say, you know what? That's it. That's it. I'm stopping that. I'm going full time,
Yeah.
face first into the YouTube project, into the selling, into the trading up, into the IG.
Mhm.
This was, I believe, even before you ventured into whatnot that you
Before
did that.
Whatnot. Yeah, so really a lot of the stuff happened before Whatnot, but when Whatnot came, it was kind of like, "Oh, let's see what this can do." And it's just one of those things that like it was even better than what I had planned for, so it just worked out, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, these were plans that I had before. I set myself up to just have low overhead, man. That's all it is. Why do I have to have such high monthly bills? If you can keep your overhead low and keep and get your income up, then that's all you really need. You know what I'm saying? So it was kind of one of those things, man. I don't know how much detail I want to get into, but then Whatnot came along, and Whatnot's what's going on right now. I have a lot of fun on Whatnot. They sponsored the channel, and it's a big help. Nothing lasts forever. It probably won't be a forever thing. But what I really wanted to do as far as being on my own is be able to take advantage of opportunities as they come up. If I had to still work a regular job, it would be hard to juggle so many different things.
Oh, it's definitely the case. I mean, you got your hands into a lot of different pots right now, and you need to in order to be able to sustain and keep growing.
Mhm.
But I was shocked when I heard you do that. I know that you had a large subscription base that you had at that time, and it's grown
Mhm.
more since then. And you did have other sources of revenue, such as some of the selling and trading that you did through your stuff.
Yeah.
But you weren't an LCS. You weren't an official like store at that time. There's a lot of stuff up in the air as far as
No,
getting
I was never an LCS. I don't know if you said I was or I wasn't.
No, I said you weren't an LCS.
No. I wanted to be one, but then when I figured out how much overhead they have, I'm a low overhead guy. That's how I operate. So when I saw I don't think I would get ulcers having overhead like an LCS. I don't know how they do it, man. Like, I don't know.
There's a ton of brick and mortar is not for everybody, and I
I
don't
couldn't
know
do it.
if every single area can't even sustain one. To be
Right.
honest with you, I mean the whole model is changing completely, but a lot of people look at channels such as yours and a lot of the larger channels, and they say to themselves, you know what? I want to be YouTube famous. I want to make millions and gazillions of dollars off of YouTube. As somebody that's grown to a channel that's over 150,000 subscribers right now, I know for a fact that it's not as easy as it seems to a lot of people. And the
Yeah.
amount of revenue that you get directly from YouTube ads is not, as earth shattering as people think they are. There's a lot of other added things that you have to
Right.
do in order to supplement that.
100%.
Is there any advice that you would give anybody as far as, you're trying to grow a channel, you're trying to actually make a living off of that channel? What should they do?
Man, but you have it 100% right. If I just sat back and waited on ad revenue, nah, it wouldn't work. You got to wheel and deal, man. It depends on your genre. You know what I mean? It depends on what your channel is about. I think we're fortunate that we're in the collectibles hobby. So with collectibles, there comes these tangible items that you can deal in, and that's a big thing. I think it depends on the channel. You know, if you wanted to get your channel to that space where it's generating income, I would say views are going to be extremely important, and then sponsorships, because you're essentially doubling up what you could earn, right? If you can get a sponsor that is compensating you correctly for the views. So I guess it's, you know, it's a combination of things, being able to, you know, have multiple streams of income, which I talked about a lot. I used to talk about it a lot more, but it becomes a touchy subject, you know. But you got to have multiple. You got to have multiple streams. You got to keep your overhead low. You got to, you know, I don't know. It's hard to explain, man. It's just kind of this thing that, like, it's a living, flowing thing, man. It's hard to explain.
And you have to have better than mediocre content. If you have only mediocre content or subpar content, you're not going to get to that point. People are not going to be giving you the ability to not only get the
you're going to get out of it what you put into it, right? If you're putting the bare minimum into it, you're going to receive the bare minimum out of it, right? So, you know, how much effort are you putting into your content? If you're just going a quick live stream, that's really the bare minimum, right? Like you're only going to grow so much there, unless you're like some personality like Theo Vaughn or somebody, you know what I'm saying? That's like got a hell of a personality. But if you take the time and edit videos and make thumbnails and learn the algorithm and watch your retention and pay attention to things that work and things that don't work, you're probably going to start to see more of a return on the views, on the subscribers, on the revenue, and all that.
That's a definite. And on top of that, you're actually going to get people that are of a higher caliber wanting to sponsor your channel as well.
That's what I'm saying. Because in doing so, you know, in theory, you'll get those types of views. Now, what you should do, Comic Journey, you should be clipping up these interviews. If you, I don't know, you might already be doing it. You should be clipping them up, and you could release them as shorts and reels. You could make money off Instagram as well. You could probably make them as shorts, or you could even do just clip channels. Do that all the time on big, you know, Joe Rogan podcasts and such. And you could basically extract, you know, more views out of this one video, but also have little clickbaity titles like Gem Mint says Ninja Funk's the best thing ever published in comics, and then get a bunch of people to click on it. You know what I'm saying? So you could that, but see what that is putting more into the channel, and then, like I said, you'll get more out of it. See, not to criticize you and tell you how to run your ship or anything, but I'm just, you know, that's how I think.
Well, see, people, I get people on here to interview, and they're actually telling me how to make gazillions. There you go. You know,
you'll make 1 gazillion after year 1.
See, that's what I need. I need that first gazillion in order to get myself to the next level. So I'm very, you know, thankful for the advice that you're giving me. And I definitely hear exactly what you're saying as far as that's concerned. And I'm a big believer of it. I'm a really big believer because I've been able to do very similar type of things outside of the comic community channels and that kind of stuff. I've done that with real estate, and I'm very knowledgeable as far as how it's needed to be worked as far as being able to get those views and that kind of stuff. So
I'm very interested in real estate actually as well, man. That's actually something that helped me accomplish what I've accomplished over here was a good real estate investment. But I would like to get into rental properties actually.
Well, you know what? You got my line. Anytime you need some advice, even though we're in different states, I'm sure that a lot of the stuff that I could provide for you as far as help and advice will probably help you in your own state as well. And if you decide to, I don't know if you're going to want to come back in New York. New York's a shithole right now as far as
it might be a good time to buy there though.
I don't know. Let's see how the rental policies are happening. Don't get me started on that. It's getting like ridiculous as far as landlord rights and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. I'm scared. That's why I haven't done it yet. Wait, what did actual Dracula say? He said his edited content wasn't doing well for him.
Well, let me see.
You clicked on it. Oh yeah.
My edit.
Fewer than a live stream. So I don't know if I would take a look at it. I would want to see what is it that is making it not perform. Is it the thumbnail? Is it the title? I would have to look at it to see, man. I'd be happy to check it out if you cared what I thought about it or not.
There you go. He just volunteered to
because I'm a big pre-recorded content will always perform better than live content. Like even on huge channels, you see it. Videos, if they get hundreds of thousands of views, they'll get tens of thousands of live views. So I don't know. But also there are some channels that built themselves to be that way, to be a strictly live. But I think that's rare.
That's a big thing that a lot of I've noticed that from a lot of, like you mentioned, Joe Rogan and a lot of the podcasts, cutting those clips up and getting those sound bites and, like you said, clickbaity kind of titles
Right.
will get you there. They
Hell
would
yeah.
definitely get you there, and it's solid advice, and it's something that is a proven formula for a lot of stuff.
And I'll tell
Now-
you, it's not so much to be clickbait, but it's just got to be interesting. Like what, sometimes I think, and this is why I kind of wanted to change my content up too. I don't want to have like, you're going to get this same video every week. It's like, you really got to take a step back and think about what you watch. You know what I'm saying? Like what thumbnails and titles grab you to make you say, oh, I don't even want to watch this, but they got me with the thumbnail. There's so many videos I watch like that where it's like, you got me, so I don't think it's, to deceive anyone, but it's definitely something to make it interesting. And then you have viewers that like long form content, and then you have people that have a low attention span that like the short form. So it's the perfect blend to have a long podcast show that you could clip up.
Absolutely. I like the podcast format. One, because it's easier, it's less work as far as editing is concerned.
That's true.
I'm just being honest, Uh, but what do you think of this guy over here, DJ Links? Do you think he's a hard worker, or is he all fluff? This guy.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of DJ Links. I love his mentality. I think we're very similar. We both have the same mindset. I'm very impressed with his editing skills. To where, he might be the first person that I really ever asked to edit a video for me for my channel. I always edited everything. Well, first of all, I used to not edit anything, and then I had to learn how to do that. And then Comic Tom had editors. And that's another thing that I always admired about Tom. I'm like, yo, this guy got people working for him. He's got editors over here. This guy's doing that. So DJ Links, like I was telling you backstage, if I have a video idea that it's like I'm trying to tell a story, I need DJ Links, man. I need him to be able to make that video move so that it's interesting. And I try to reserve the good stuff for him. And he always helps me out. That's my guy, man.
And the editing is just as important as the actual content, because if you got great content and it just doesn't connect, it might as well get lost in the shuffle at that point.
Yeah, so I think so. At least I think, when I watch those videos that stuff's cropping in, moving out, there's always got to be moving and sounds. I notice, like if I watch the successful videos, there's always something going on. And I'm looking at my old videos, and it's just it's just what you see right now, just one static frame. And I'm like, nah. That's why I feel like with the edited stuff, you got to make it. Look at DJ Link's videos. His videos got all that. Like he gets the transitions and the sounds and the movement and keep it interesting and keep it funky the whole time.
Yeah, it's gonna be super engaging and that kind of stuff. Plus, you have to have the Kool-Aid Man in your videos at all times. That always works out well.
The big thing now is people putting text over the videos, but really more so for shorts. I'm sure you've seen it now, right? And it's like because a lot of people watch videos with their phone on silent. And you could sometimes, if it has those captions or whatever, you could just keep watching it.
See, I always thought they were doing that with the text over the video in order for people not to clip their videos and reuse it.
Oh, it could work for that too.
I always thought that was the case on that, but maybe I'm wrong. Listen, you got to put a bold title or something like that in there. It's definitely gonna get some people's attention, especially if you put a really nice font or a bright color or whatever the case is. It's gonna get you. Yep. It's definitely gonna. Plus, I've noticed that people like wrestling. Anything you put wrestling on there. So if you're not into comic creation and you like wrestling, put some wrestling stuff on there. People go berserk over stupid wrestling clips. So go put stupid wrestling clips and combine it with comics, and maybe you have a formula for success.
You know what's funny about that? I've recently been watching a lot of wrestling videos because I never really got into wrestling as a kid. I used to like when The Rock was out and he was like in the Versace Rock era with the gold chain and all that stuff. Like I liked that era, but nothing more than that. So recently I've been watching YouTube videos doing the history of all this and that of wrestling. It's funny you say that.
Well, they're nonstop. They just keep popping up. Oh, that, and if you open up some cards. If you just decide to open up a pack of cards and just show what you got, you don't even have to do anything. Put some music on there and open up cards. People go berserk over that. I don't understand that. I never understood that.
I did a box break the other day.
Did you literally just open up one card one pack at a time and make a short out of it?
I edited out the dead air or the dead space. If I wasn't saying anything, if nothing was necessarily happening, I was just cutting it with a what do they call a jump cut? So no transition, just bop, 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 just to keep it interesting, you know?
And sped it up a little bit and that kind of thing,
Sped
right?
it up. Yeah, because if you just have a long drawn out, that's boring as hell. But I had it like, kra, kra, kra. I mean, it did okay. It wasn't like a big video, but it was all right. But yo, actual Dracula, yo, hit me on the IG, man, for real.
There you go. I'm sure Jem is being really helpful with what he's going to do for you. That's
So first of all, I do know we know each other already though. Just so.
Oh, do you? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But the one thing I will say, something like one of the reasons we're doing these videos, and I've said this a lot of times for a lot of people, is there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect a lot of times between the smaller and the larger channels out there. Obviously, you've grown to a channel that commands a certain amount of respect as far as what you've been able to accomplish, and then you have other channels that are, sub 1,000, maybe a couple hundred subs, that kind of thing, even a couple thousand, 5,000. These are all small channels in the big picture. We were talking about this backstage as far as in the big picture. You got like guys like Comic Story and right. Comic Explain, which are massive pop culture, I don't know, phenomenals. I don't know what you want to call it, but
they're the OG comic book YouTubers, and that's how I look at it. Like I never really looked at myself like okay, you're a big channel. Like there's always a bigger channel. There's always somebody bigger and badder. And when I put out stuff, I'll compare it to people that like that. I'll be like, all right, well, bomb, they're doing this, and that. Like, how do I get on that level? Yeah, I did love the BS show. Hell yeah, man. That was a fun show. That had the natural kind of talent and chemistry. Anyway, not to get off track. What the hell was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, you were talking about how
Bueller messed me
your
up.
channel.
Oh yeah. So I compare myself to them. So yeah, I there's always going to be a someone bigger and badder out there. I don't really look at it like that.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I actually started putting this series together, in order to try to bridge that gap a little bit and make help people with the smaller channel, or the ones that are just starting or kind of getting into the hobby, kind of somehow associate with the larger channels.
Right.
You're a human being, kind of like everybody else. You're not a faceless corporation, not AT&T. You're Jem Mint.
But I think a lot of newer channels think that, like, okay, if they just get somebody on, they're going to get a lot of subscribers and followers. Like, it doesn't really work like that. I think, like, if you were able to get 5,000 subscribers, you could easily get 10,000. Like, what did you do that drew those 5,000 in? Like, I would look more at what worked and what didn't work. What videos performed well. Do more of that and less of the stuff that didn't work, because I always looked at it like, yo, if I hit 5, I could hit 10. If I hit 10, I could hit 50. And I just kept it going like that. And what's funny enough, like to what I said earlier, I don't really chase that anymore. So I don't really see that anymore. I kind of have a slower growth, but I know I don't put into it like how I used to when I was really gunning for like the 100K, 150K and all that.
Well, right now you got the silver plaque, right?
Got the is it silver? What do they call it?
The silver button.
Yeah, I got the silver button. Yeah, I got.
You got the silver button. I noticed that you don't have it displayed anywhere.
I used to have it like in my old setup. It was, I just don't really have anywhere to put it right here. I have it next to a statue in the books area over there.
Does that kind of get old quick? Like, it's exciting when you finally get it, and then they're like, oh, like
that never gets old to me. That's to be one of those things where it's like, yo, you can never take away that I got that plaque, yo.
It's a big deal. People don't realize
take that
how
away.
Big of a deal is to finally get that silver button, that silver plaque. So what's the next goal that you have in mind? There's got to be like a target in your mind there where you're like, if I actually hit this, I am freaking go through the moon. Is it 500,000? Is it a million?
No, I don't really chase that anymore. I don't know. That's not really what that's not really what drives me anymore. It's more of being able to.
But are you being humble, or is there really
no, really not. I mean, no, there's not, because first of all, I don't think it'll. Based on the growth trajectory now, I don't really see it ever getting there. I think I would have to do some drastic content change to get there. Like, I would have to do something that had a bigger audience, I feel like, or even to reach a different audience. Like, those guys like Comic Storian and Variant are great, because if you don't want to waste the time, or not waste the time, if you don't want to take the time to read decades of history, you could just watch this quick video, you know? And they're smart with how they put stuff out around certain movies and stuff. So I don't know. Right now, I just, I'm spending a lot of time with the family, teaching my daughter how to drive, trying to spend time with Fee, with my wife, and try to, keep the ship afloat,
And you want to talk about like teams, those channels, they have entire crews that they have on the payroll in order to put those things together. You're still, for the most part, I mean, I'm sure you get a little bit of help here and there, but you're still a one-man operation still, right?
I'm a low overhead type of guy. Like towards the end of last year, I was getting some help with editing and I was paying, but then I just wasn't keeping up with the content. I wasn't giving him enough work. But I always did really work better, just like trying to keep the overhead low, do it myself. It's also one of those things where it's like, I don't know, like DJ, he's way better than me at editing. Like I would need to learn another program to do what he does. But I feel like for iMovie, I got iMovie down, man. I'm pretty picky with how my stuff comes out. So I keep it solo, man, in-house for the most part.
You do great. I mean, listen, DJ, for the people that don't know him, this is his profession, he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff. He should know his stuff because that's what he does. So, I give him a lot of credit. I give myself a lot of credit for making the shittiest videos.
But see, if you're going to commit to it, you got to go all in with it. And I think that's what you're doing here. I think that could work in itself, man. You got to go all in with it.
I take the most pride in the world. Nobody can take that away from me. I can assure you that, and, slowly but surely, I'm getting a lot of lunatics that actually appreciate my shitty videos. So that's a pretty good thing. So I'll take a lot of the stuff that you're doing as inspiration and apply it in the shittiest of forms, and hopefully it turns into something good.
But look, it's all for the desired result. Not everybody has a YouTube channel because they want that to be their main gig. You know what I'm saying? Like some people just do it for fun, and there's nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with just doing what makes you happy. So I don't think that needs to be the goal for everyone either. It's like if that's what you want, but.
And people have to be realistic. Not every channel is going to become the next Mr. Beast. It just doesn't happen that way. There's commitment. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of effort that's applied to it. And at the same time, you got to have the motivation, too, to keep going with it. If your only motivation is just to make money off of the channel, more often than not, you're not going to do well unless you go in there with a formal business plan of how to apply it to them. I'm sure when you first started your channel, it wasn't to become gazillionaire. It was to start promoting what you're doing in a way and sharing your hobby in a way as well.
So for me, it was always in the back of my mind that it is something that I would have liked to grow and make big. And that's why I fought so hard for it. Like I worked, I dedicated my life to doing it, really, man. Like every free moment besides work was making videos, and I put a lot of hours into it. If you look at the content, how much content got put out over years, I just now recently slowed down a little bit to take a breather. But yeah, man, you got to dedicate time into it if that's the desired result,
So that's interesting. Actually, one of the few stories that I've actually heard talk to somebody that actually went in there with a plan, because most people and that's probably why your channel has grown as large as it has, because you didn't go in with a discombobulated type of format, and kind of you kind of knew what you wanted to do and just kept tweaking it and making it better along the line.
Exactly. I knew what I wanted to do was do videos every day because that's what I wanted as a fan. Little did I know that the algorithm would reward that. So when I reached a good subscription number, I don't know, maybe it was 50,000. A big YouTube channel reached out to me and he was like, "Yo, Jem, I'm a fan. You're doing a lot of things right. Let me have 30 minutes with you and I'll teach you some things that you might not know." And then after I had that conversation is where we went from 50K to 100K. Like I was already doing instinctually a lot of the right things. And then I kind of learned things here and there that really helped me, like you said, tweak what I was doing to grow it even bigger.
Sorry about that. I had I don't know if you could hear that buzzing in the background. For some reason, my phone just went berserk. Sorry about that. We're not professional here. Sorry, people. But All right, that actually makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a lot
Having a
of sense.
plan, yeah.
The fact that you went in there with a game plan, then you had that one person that actually reached out to you, because I actually noticed that people are a lot more helpful than you think
Yes.
within the YouTube community, within the social media community, as far as trying to help another person getting themselves to another level. There is a lot of jealousy, but at the same time, there's a lot of companionship and synergy, like kind of like the synergy that you have with Comic Tom.
Right. I mean yo, I've worked with a lot of people throughout these years too, man. I never turned someone down because their channel was smaller or whatever. Even when I was starting out, I always wanted to collab because I personally felt like from a fan perspective, it's like the MCU. It's like, oh my God, I watched these guys and I watched this guy, and now they're doing something together. Like I always liked that. So I was always down for that, man. That's why I came on this show. You know, you asked me to do it. I checked you out. I said, okay. I see he's got Comic Tom came on there. He got some people that came on there. I'll jump on there as well. You know, so
You were
I've always
to be the first, though. You weren't going to be the first, though. I know that.
probably not, because you know what? I would want to see that you're taking it serious enough before I dedicate my time to it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, I don't blame you. If you saw anything that we do late night, I don't think you'd want to even come close to it. But there you go, people. The fact that he actually took the time to want to be on this, whatever you want to call it, the fact that he came here and actually wanted to interact and answer questions and talk to me and talk to everybody here is proof that there is a good communication between not only Gem but a lot of channels of all different levels with each other. So it's a really big deal. Like I really love the fact that we're having conversation right now. We're able to like talk things that are very mutual between us.
mhm.
You know, there's a lot of aspects of what your work ethic that incorporates that I really, really can relate to. Like I'm a big work ethic guy. I
Yeah,
really
me too.
believe in like you put it into it, you get what you put into it. I hate crybabies. I hate people that all they do is, oh, why is nothing happening? Well, because you're not doing anything. That's why it's not happening. You
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
and I also believe that you have to have a little bit of ego in yourself in order
Yeah.
to say, you know what, I want to do better.
Well, you
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 know,
gotta believe in yourself, man, because you'll see comments that will make you question it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have that ego, and no, I got this. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hype yourself up a little bit. I think I agree with that for sure.
and speaking of ego, did your ego ever get bruised when you hear the bad comments and the good comments or everything in between? Because you get everything. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like on every video, you get the good guys, the bad guys, and the
Well, look,
weird
I
guys.
used to be the one that would go back and forth with those comments every day of the week. I would, I was always, I used to take them serious, like, oh, they're hating on me. But then, like a couple of them, I would be like, he's kind of being disrespectful, but I kind of agree with what they're saying. Like, if it wasn't for those types of comments, I would have never started editing my videos. I would have never got a mic. I would have never got lighting. You know what I mean? So that kind of was like a little kick in a sense to, okay, they're talking shit, but I could actually benefit from this critique. Yeah. And there was also times, man, where you get humbled. It's the internet, man, and it's like, I don't know, maybe if your ego can get too big, you don't really realize, you don't maybe think twice about something. And the internet could be a tough place, man, a tough place to navigate.
Yeah, well, listen, this is where the trolls come out, and they love to hide behind keyboards and alias names and
Yeah, but you know what? The thing
Facebook
is,
avatars.
they're really just having fun. They're just messing around. So
Sometimes,
if you get all riled up, I mean, first of all, that's even funnier, right? It's like they're not. I doubt they're even taking it that serious. So for me to be like, oh my God, this guy said something, so I learned to like not really look at it like this guy's not really talking to me. He doesn't really know who I am. Maybe he never even seen me before. Maybe he does know me for a long time, but they don't really know me. They just are commenting whatever they're projecting, whatever they're feeling, or getting some anger out, or just messing around, having fun, just poking fun at people. So it's hard. You got to kind of have thick skin and just kind of like not take it to heart, I guess.
And even if you
But
don't have the thick skin, you develop it real fast. Being in this,
I'll tell you what, like what I always say, like, you kind of start making it when you get those types of comments, because when you first start the channel, you have nothing but support, whether it's people that you know or people that just happen to get you and like they're supporting you. But once you kind of break that little realm and then you get into the open a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like then when you start seeing those comments, you kind of know that you're on the right path, man. Like, what's that analogy? If video games have taught me anything, if you encounter enemies, you're going the right way, So whatever you're doing that's causing that, keep doing that. It's going to come with it, though. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's going to love you. Not everybody's going to like you. But, just got to keep doing what you think is right. Keep doing what you do.
And you like believe in like there's as long as they're watching, whether they hate you or love you, it's a good thing, right?
Well, I don't really make controversial videos. There's channels out there that I'm like, I don't know how you do it. Like, you purposely are poking the bear, and yeah, maybe you don't care if you're getting good engagement, bad engagement. I like to make the best video that I can make. I'm not really a controversial person. Like, I don't really do politics or stuff like that. I kind of like to just have a professional video. I really like to just share things that I collect, but kind of forgot where I was going with that, though, to be honest.
Well, you try to stay away from controversy. I could honestly say
yeah.
The only one time, there was
ahead.
only one time that I felt that you were in the deep like targets of all controversy and that kind of stuff, and you had actually put together a video that you got really scrutinized about, and it took a lot of slings and arrows about, which you weren't the only one. There were a lot of people within that time period that got hit hard. Like, was that really hard to take as far as a lot of the backlash, or was it something that you like just regretted, took down the video and said to yourself, you know what, let's pause from here?
Yeah, I guess there was a little bit of that. I think the biggest mistake I made for me was like putting other people's names out there. And I learned like, man, I what I say can really have an impact on somebody else. So like, if I wouldn't have mentioned anyone else's name and just kept it to me, I would have kept that video up, because really what I was just trying to explain was like, yo, I was just out there with these people, and these people are all just trying to, feed their family, pay their bills, whatever. And people try to make it seem to be another thing. So, I learned from it, though. It wasn't the first time. I kind of caught something like that too some years before. I had like a polarizing figure on the channel, and that kind of caused a little bit of a ruckus as well. But it's a learning experience, man. I guess that's all it is. Learn from it, move on.
You were able to adapt, and there's still some shine on that gem. Then,
but there's still
the luster.
It's still one of those things where it's like, you gotta learn from it. You can't just assume everybody's hating on you. Everyone's a hater. Like, yo, maybe I had a bad take. Ain't nobody perfect, but I think to learn from it and try not to make the same mistake.
It happens. Everybody's a human being. They make mistakes. You move on from it. You know what I'm saying? That's the one thing that like I am appreciative of people. You make a mistake, or you take a step in a direction where maybe you second guess yourself. As long as you know what you do and move forward and you actually better yourself as it, then you have no issue. That's definitely a thing. Speaking of bettering yourself, there's one thing I definitely want to talk about with you that I find personally very important, and I give you a lot of credit for, is the amount of weight loss that you've had over the recent years. Yeah. I think it is amazing, the transformation you've had in front of us on our YouTube screens and our IG screens and the whatnot streams and all the streams that we've been watching in. Mm-hmm. And you didn't do it. You didn't staple gun your stomach or anything like that. You didn't. This was all natural, right?
Here's my thing. I never really understood people who did that, because I'm like, if I'm gonna get my stomach shrunk or something like that, that means I'm gonna eat a lot less food, right?
Yeah.
So why don't I just do that without the staple? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So I never, that was never an option for me. I wanted to just do it the right way, weight train, watch calories, watch macros, and it worked, man. And I put a little bit back on the move, a lot of stress, a lot of traveling, but I'm back on it. Been back in for like the last month, and I'm about to hopefully stay on it, learn from the mistakes that I made falling off, because it's almost like looking back, you make excuses for yourself, man. Oh, I can't go to the gym because of this, or I can't make a healthy meal because of that, or well, let's just go eat out because we're traveling. But looking back, it's like, man, I could have still hit the gym. Why did I fall off a little bit? So now I'm on the road back. I got a couple pounds I'm trying to lose. So you'll see it continue on the channel.
But you worked really, really hard to get to the place that
Yeah.
you're in right now. So
Yeah.
to like let yourself fall off, you kind of say, I'm not gonna let all that time go to waste.
Right.
You sound like a very disciplined person, somebody that's very dedicated, and when you put your mind to something, you're gonna do it.
I can be, yeah, for sure. I'm very addictive. My personality is very addictive. Like, if I like something, I go all in it. So I actually do like working out. I like to eat food, so I don't give a shit if it's bland chicken with hot sauce and broccoli. I like it. So it's just a matter of, for me, I have to weight train. I train like three days on, 1 day off. So it's like 5 to 6 times a week, and I got to track my food and make sure I have protein high, carbs and fats are low, and you start seeing results. And you got to remember to enjoy the journey, because you see progress as you go. I'm starting to see progress again. I'm like, thank God for muscle memory, because I'm pretty much back at my strength I was at when I stopped working out. So I'm into it, man. That's, for me, it's got to be the priority. Like, if that's not my priority, I'm not going to do it.
Well, I'm going to personally tell you thank you for giving a good inspiration, not only to me, because I'm a pretty chunky fucker myself. I got to lose some weight too. It's just like a lot of the heavy duty people within our community. We look at you and we say, you know what? He did it. Why the hell can't we do it?
No, you can, man. It takes discipline, though, man. You know what I used to hate?
No staple guns.
I used to hate being at the office when I used to have to work at the office, and before I know it, I'm eating a donut. I'm like, I didn't even think about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, it's like, as somebody who is overweight, a lot, very overweight, you really have to track what you're eating, because you don't think about it, and the calories add up.
And have you had a lot of positive feedback and encouragement?
I've had DMs. I've had
words from people.
Man, one of my moderators in the Facebook group, shout out to Brandon, he lost a ton of weight. He was a big dude. He lost it all. A couple people lost, man. It hit me in the DMs. And I was thinking about starting some type of content surrounding that, but I don't know, man. I don't want to come off like, I don't know. I might do it when I, get back in, where I was at again. But a lot of people have lost weight and hit me up, letting me know.
That's an awesome thing. How much weight did you lose total?
So the highest I weighed in at was 285.
And how tall are you?
5'11".
Holy shit, that's a heavy dude.
I was 285, and I weighed in, I think, after I had dieted for a little bit. Like, I never wanted to hit 300 pounds, man. I was always super scared. So 285 is the highest I've ever seen. I got down to, I think, 195. So I lost like 90 pounds total.
And what's your ideal weight do you want to stay at?
I want to be back to 195.
No, you want to be at 195 and stay there flatline at that point.
Yeah, but I was weight trained the whole time too, so I wasn't like flabby. I had no loose skin. I was muscular. Like, I had a good tone and everything. So I gotta lose about 25 more pounds, man.
Well, I saw you put some muscle on you. I definitely did see that. That's why my money is on you if you fight the Comic Tom. I don't care how fast he is. You grab him in your hands. You're gonna.
If I get him close, it's over. I got a long reach too, man. I don't know.
I think you dismantle him, and once you grab him in your hands, but because of the muscle difference, I don't care how big you say he is. I see the muscles, so that I'm a visual guy. Now he might be dirty. He might bite you or poke your eyes out.
He might knee you in the groin. I wouldn't put it past him, to be honest.
Actually, you know what? He does hit me as a kind of character that would get dirty. Hit you in the groin, eye gouge you, it's all kinds of stuff.
Poking
like
eyes, that. Biting. Definitely.
Yeah, Comic Tom. Listen. We know you got a dirty fighting streak, so bring everything you got when the death match starts. But that being said, is there anything that you're like really working on these days, or anything that you're like really, really looking forward to? You're doing the IG, you're doing the YouTube videos,
right.
You're doing the whatnot. Is there anything else that people could find you on?
Nah, I mean we have a Facebook group called Geminites. Cool people there. I'm on Twitter, but I don't really. Twitter's kind of just like an extension of Instagram for me. What's up,
You,
Bueller?
well,
Oh,
do
Bueller, but Bueller lost weight too, man. Now I was gonna say he's a grappler also, but he lost weight too recently.
and he's a big dude too. He's like what,
Yo,
6'5" or something like that.
when Bueller came to my house in Texas, I was in the best shape of my life, man. That's where I'm trying to get back to right now. So that's really my priority. Make sure that I'm sticking to my routine and make sure I still put out content. That's kind of my thing. But there's a couple of things in this basement that we're wrapping up. And once I get it to where I want it to be, I would like to get more content, get back maybe to putting out as much content as I was by reading more omnibus, doing something with weekly comics. But I still got a bunch of stuff in here that we're trying to arrange and everything.
But he's a big boy, right? When you saw him up close,
Bueller's a big guy. Yeah, hell yeah.
he's not
Bueller ain't going down quick. I'm gonna tell you like that. He's gonna eat a few punches.
Yeah, I'm not a little guy either, but when I found out how big he was, I said, "Oh, hold on a second."
Big ass dude, yeah.
I'm like 6'1", 6'2", 250, and he turns around and says he's like 6'5". I'm like, "Oh, damn!" I don't want to take out the Bueller. So plus he's got a bus; he could run us over with it. So we got to stay away from Bueller. But yeah, those are basically your primary places where people are going to find you. And how do you like the whole Whatnot experience as far as doing the Whatnot Wednesdays? That's the only day you do a regular show, right? On Whatnot.
Well, first of all, I have a blast on Whatnot. I like Whatnot. I think I've been on Whatnot the longest out of all these people that you've been talking to, because we did a box break in like July. Was it July of 2021? Maybe it was. But I liked it because we were doing a lot of YouTube auctions at the time. And the system was just so much better. The payment system, the shipping system, all of that stuff, the timer, it automatically restarts. You don't have to I don't know if you ever seen these YouTube auctions. We used to do them all the time. Right now on Whatnot, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm trying to do my shows to be more of what I'm about. So we did like our first statue auction last Sunday, which was really fun. And somebody won a dope statue. They got it a little bit under retail, so it performed well, and they still got a deal. So we're doing more statue auctions. The Whatnot Wednesday thing I'm doing as I have stuff. If I find cool enough stuff to auction, I'm going to do it on Whatnot Wednesday if it's comic book related. So I'm going to be on Whatnot this Wednesday. I got a great short box full of books. We got some key issue slabs, and we'll have fun. I have a blast on there, man. I love the community there too, man. The people on there are some of the best people. It reminds me of like when I first got on Instagram, like the comic book community in 2014, 2015, 2016. I felt like we were all learning together. The movies were fresh. They were just coming out. And it was like such a welcoming community. And that's what Whatnot kind of feels like now. Everyone in there is like supporting each other and just having a good time. And you can play music. So it's been fun.
Well, kind of. They kind of put a little bit of a muffling on us with the Whatnot. I'm actually, I have an account with Whatnot as well. And occasionally when I'm in the mood to do something that's really weird on Whatnot, as far as the sales concerned, I'll do one. And then one of my favorite things to do was actually play my weird new wave music and stuff like that. They kind of put me on alert, like I can't play as much as I was playing before. But
well, you were telling on yourself too much with your music taste.
Pretty much somebody else was probably telling on me. I think that's what it was. But well, we're not going to get into that at this point. But
it happens.
It happens. Haters, we got too many haters out there. But
I don't agree with that, man. I don't think it's so much haters. I just think it's people that don't necessarily agree with you and they're not afraid to say it. So sometimes you got to look for the truth in that. It's not always somebody that's just, there probably are people that are just mad at, maybe it's people that are mad at themselves, but I think a lot of times there's just fucking around or poking the bear.
No, when people want to go after the copyright police, that's basically what happens.
No, that's kind of hating right there. No, it's definitely hating.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. Because I grew really fast on Whatnot. I'm not gonna hit myself on the shoulder, but I basically went through a whole campaign of doing like weird sex sells, comic sells campaigns, and I was putting like a bunch of bikini babes with my Comic Journey face on there, and end up getting like 1,000 followers after like
Yo,
2.
I'm gonna tell you like this. First of all, there's a lot of comics like that right now that sell really well. And Whatnot's like anything else, man. You'll get out of it what you put into it. If you put a lot of work into it, you're gonna get a lot out of it. If you go on there a couple times, it doesn't work out, you give up. That's what you're gonna get out of it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I always looked at Whatnot because I've always had a salesman mentality. Like even if a book only goes for $1, that person is probably happy, and you probably got a return customer. So it's like there's never a loss. You know what I mean? Unless you're constantly spending more than you're making back. But that's how I always looked at it going in, doing giveaways. People are getting good deals, having fun shows. Like, why should somebody want to show up there? There should be a reason why they're showing up. And there's a lot of people on there that are successful that aren't YouTubers or even have a big Instagram presence, that they're big on Whatnot, and because they have fun shows with dope items. So it's what you put. It's what you put into it.
On there, they have no social media identity whatsoever. They do really well.
You look at my sale, we sold over 7,000 items on Whatnot. So you have to think about how much packaging that is, 5-star rating, how much packaging, how much sourcing of inventory, customer service issues, selling them. Like a lot went into that, man. But it was definitely worth it, man. So it was a good return on investment, selling on Whatnot.
Absolutely. But you did mention that you actually transitioned from YouTube sales onto Whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get your thoughts on that, because I've been, I know that there's been a lot of haters as far as the format for Whatnot, and I know it's had its growing pains.
Hold on. Let me stop you. I don't think anybody's hating on the format. I think the app in itself is amazing, but I think that a lot of people have issue with what people choose to do with the app, right? Whether they are selling certain types of books, or the way that they're running their shows, or what they're selling, or whatever it is. But I think the app within itself, show me a better tool to sell comics, especially if you're talking about moving a lot of them. You know what I mean? So, I mean, eBay's the good competitor, but that would be the equivalent of putting up all your books on eBay at 99-cent auctions. And even then would still take 7 days to sell out, right? So,
and there's a big chance that a lot of them won't sell in 7 days.
Won't even get a bid, right? But if you're on Whatnot, there's a good chance you might sell it for $1, which is the worst thing you could do, because you get hit with the 30-cent fee for, because you get it's like PayPal per transaction, and then whatever the percentage of commission that Whatnot takes. So you could potentially sell $1 book for 50 cents after it's all said and done, and have to have the shipping materials. Like a Gemini costs $1, right? So it's really not good. But again, I always looked at it like, as long as if I made somebody happy, they might come back and come to the next show.
That makes absolute sense, and I do agree with you. And I didn't word it the right way. It's not necessarily the app itself that people have been causing controversy over. It's a lot of the sellers and that kind of situation that's been happening. But lately, I've been taking another look again on the YouTube auctions, and I've been noticing a lot of things that are really, really wrong with the YouTube auctions, as far as stuff that happens that's pretty damn shady. And one of the things I do appreciate that Whatnot offers is there's at least rules. Mm-hmm. There's at least some kind of governing body.
YouTube is the Wild West, right? Because the timer's in your hands.
If they choose to use a timer.
And then you have the buyers. A lot of them, a stranger could come off the street. They're not vetted. They can claim a bunch of books and not pay you, not return your emails or whatever, which really never happens on Whatnot. Every now and then you get somebody where the payment didn't go through, and then whatever, no big deal. But like, you're talking about once every couple of shows, rather than, a bunch of people like trying to mess with you on YouTube or whatever.
You got shill bidders that happen. You got a lot
that could happen. I mean, that could happen on Whatnot too, though, man. If somebody got their friends together, but you're running the risk of somebody's going to have to pay for that if your shill tactics don't work, right?
Yeah, well, that's definitely somebody's going to pay the bill, or you're going to have some kind of red flag that's hit against you through Whatnot, because they'll take a notice. All right, it happens once, it happens twice, it happens 3 times where somebody's not paying.
Yeah. Or just do to request cancellations or something. Yeah, I'm sure. But I never looked at business like that. I always looked at business like, if you do business the right way, it's going to last longer. I was never a schemer. I was never a one and done type of guy. Like, all right, I'm going to scam everybody and get $5,000. Like, in my mind, I'm always like, what if you just do it right and just make $5,000 every month? You know what I'm saying? Like, I always looked at it like that. So I'm sure there's people that are always thinking about scheming. I'm always trying to think about how do you do it the right way? How do you do it legit so that it
Would you
lasts
ever
longer?
go back the other way? Would you ever go back to YouTube auctions or Instagram auctions?
Yeah, I would. I would. I would. I could even do right now. Like if I wanted to sell stuff that's not selling on Whatnot, I would just make a YouTube video. Yo, I'm selling these statues. Blah blah blah. Email me. Like no big deal. You know Whatnot though. We're working together. It's a partnership. They sponsor the channel. We try to bring people to the application. We try to have fun shows and do crazy giveaways. So it's been a fun thing.
I agree with that as far as that's concerned, and everything has its positives and its negatives. And look, PT.
Yeah, I saw it. I didn't really mind. Yeah, so he said it's the fact that they have a publishing company as well. Oh, they have no idea. Well, hold on. Saying that they have no idea anything about the comic industry, I feel like that's more of an opinion than a fact. I feel like I'm impressed. I couldn't have done what Jack has done. I didn't really know Jack well from before this, but when I see him and all the stuff that he's done, I'm like, yo, I wouldn't have been able to make all that work. So I feel like, and them securing stuff, whether it's heavy metal or Wesley Snipes, I'm impressed, to be honest.
And it's going through growing pains again. That's basically what it is. It's still a young company altogether. And the truth be said, it only took on comics as a real format, 2 years now?
Yeah, I was gonna say like at the end of 2021. Like when I was one of the first people that they spoke to, and we did that in July of 2021. And I think in November I started doing comic book auctions and omnibus auctions over there. Yeah, they're trying to learn. They have every sub genre has their own category with their own department and their own people that are from that community that know it. So they try. They try to make it a fun place. I'm saying like they're a household name. So if nobody knew who Whatnot was, then that would have been a failure. But the fact that everybody knows them, and some people like them or don't like them, but everybody knows them.
Well, sneakers are a huge thing, and they've been a huge thing on Whatnot. And Funkos were a huge thing on Whatnot as well.
Pokemon cards. They were big. Cards. They were already on their way before comics. But yeah, I check out a lot of stuff. We check out thrifting streams, me and my wife. They have watch streams and watch sellers. I'm always looking at somebody selling some like was it Invictas or whatever I want to pick up. They have a lot of crazy categories. So when you say Whatnot, they mean they don't like maybe comic people in Whatnot, but it's so much more than that, really.
We've been jumping on people's comments and questions. We might as well actually open it up to some questions.
Open it up.
Any questions?
Don't answer no questions, and I won't tell you no lies.
Hey Lord, don't ask me questions. Hey Lord, don't ask me questions, please. What do you want? What do you want from us? To ask you this much is just a matter of trust, not an affront. What do you want?
All right. See, we only got the high-tech intros here.
I don't even have that. When I do live shows, I don't have I always was impressed with people who ran a live show that had like little segue videos and the pictures and stuff. Like my live shows are always so boring. That's kind of why I don't do them anymore, to be honest. I just don't like the production level of when I do live streams.
I like just pressing buttons. That's basically I have everything set up on here. Stupid is, stupid does. If something goes wrong on here, I'm done. So we'll leave it at that. But I'm just going to ask anybody that wants to ask a question, just do us a favor and put a Q in front of the comment. That way I don't miss it because I'm going blind. And at the same time, I just might miss it. So I don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you. If I ignore you, I'll tell you I'm ignoring you. So let's start with Cosmic Toby. Is Whatnot's money in the bank? What is Whatnot's money in the banks?
What is that bank called? Silicon whatever?
Silicon Valley is the one that just went under.
Yeah. I don't know, but I don't think so because I just recently sold some stuff and it let me transfer the funds to my bank, so that's a good sign.
Signatures went under as well. One by
one.
Didn't
they get bailed out though? Not to get political, but
I don't know if how much of a bailout or how much of a cover up it is, but we'll see at the end of the day after some things come out. But
I like where your head's at. There's
more to come. There's more to come. Trust me.
Got you. Yo, and not to get off track here, but they know what your profession is, right?
Yeah, they know I'm in real estate.
That market took a crazy hit, man. I think we're finally coming back down to normal, right? Or at least in the right direction.
In a lot of places in the country, yes. In other places, not yet. You go down to Florida. Florida's still, in some spots, it's still, you can't keep inventory going.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
New York, for the most part, it's leveling out, but it depends on which part of the country you're going at. But the interest rates have been holding everything tempered down, which is a good thing. You need a correction. You definitely need
interest rates coming down.
I don't know if they're going to come down permanently, but because I do see a couple more rate hikes coming in this year, so we'll see where this is going to go.
Gotcha.
Listen, as long as it doesn't hit 16% like it was in the 80s, I'll be happy. You know what I'm saying? It's historically 6-7%. That's okay. We just got spoiled with the 3s and the 4s, and some people even got 2.5%, 3%.
I was like 2.9 in El Paso, man.
How are you ever going to complain about a rate like that? That's like almost free money at that point. They're basically giving you a loan as close to 0 interest as possible.
Yep.
It's a big deal. So, question from collecting with Durs. Jem, where do you get such a gangster swag at? Always have the best shirts.
I was always big into shirts like that, man. Like, for those people that followed me on Instagram before I started YouTube, I went through like a vintage comic book tee phase as well. I get like a lot of my stuff is bootleg shirts that I get from people who make them on Instagram. I hunt stuff down. If I go to Hot Topic, or if I go to the mall, go to Hot Topic, Spencer's, I'll get band tees, or I'll get comic book tees, anime stuff, whatever I'm into. But I always like to have it because I was doing videos every day. I'm like, yo, I'm not trying to have the same stuff on every single day. I'm always trying to like match what the content of the video is. So I just kind of source from all over. But my favorites are those all over print shirts that I get from these dudes on Instagram, man. Like the Daily Buckle is one of them. That's my man Donnie. And then 19th Letter is another good one that has those type of shirts.
All right, guys. So if you want to dress like Jem, now you know where to go.
I seen a few people with them Jem shirts on, man.
Let me ask you this on this same topic. Do you have your own merch?
You know, we were big into merch around like 2020 or so. I was thinking about recently doing something new, but I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to just have it like as a Teespring thing attached to the channel. Do something for Whatnot. Do a limited drop. Maybe get a design commissioned by somebody dope and do some type of, because Gem Mint is my thing. I don't have to worry about licenses or whatever, you know. So we can do a dope Gem Mint design, make a small amount of them, and do like a Whatnot drop. I'm interested in something like that.
So you actually trademarked your name?
Yeah.
Awesome. Smart guy.
I did that before I think the channel got monetized, because I tell you, I was serious about it, man. Or it might have been, it was really early when I got like set up like an LLC and everything, man. It was really early. Smart
move. Not take lessons, people.
Well, the reason why I did that is because I had got hit with a 1099 when I first got into like buying and selling, and I had to learn how to deal with it. So when I started the channel, I'm like, if I'm about to start making money from somewhere else besides my job, I need to have this set up the right way so that I don't get screwed and have to, like, you know, pay extra taxes, or at that time not get a tax refund. But now it's like making sure we just claim income, write off expenses, and you know, just do it the right way.
That's the way you got to do it. A very smart move. And I asked that specific question because I gave Ryan the other night a whole shitstorm about not having his own merch. I'm like, how do you not? Your name is Fire Guy Ryan. How are you not running around with freaking shirts with fire on them and you're like face on fire or something?
He definitely has a great opportunity. Tom's a really good friend, man. I know they're really close, and he's got a great opportunity where he could do that. He could make his own merch. He could be doing limited Fire Guy Ryan drops on Whatnot, because they have really awesome Whatnot shows, man. So yeah, he's got opportunity. I should get on his ass too, man.
Yeah, I told him you don't even have to get creative. Take a look at Bam Bam Bigelow's freaking shirt and use that as a guideline. or put your head on fire like a ghostwriter and fire guy Ryan. There you go.
But Tom is on it, man. Tom has the Mark Jeweler shirts, and then we had the Gem Mint version with the blue Mark Jeweler diamond. Tom's on it, but if you ask him right now, he'll say, you know, he hasn't really thought about it in a while, and we all probably need to relook at that and make some new stuff.
That's got to be an ego boost, right? To see people walking around with your name on their shirts and stuff like that. It's not in a bad way. I mean, it's a good thing.
No, it's surreal. I don't want to say it's an ego boost,
all
but
right, it's flattering.
I tell you what, like, yeah, it was dope. It's dope, man. It's really it's cool to see people that get what you're doing. Like, I used to say that about the live streams. Like, I'm glad that the people that are watching this like understand what we're understand our mentality, where we come from, and what we're talking about, and like that you just get it. So that's how I always looked at that, man. Like, I don't know, it was super fun around like the pandemic time, man. I think that was probably the big boom of a lot of channels around that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, it was different. It was a different era, man. It was a fun time during that time.
Hopefully we never see that era again.
Right. That's the thing. I mean, as far as YouTube was concerned, but that's just because everybody was working from home. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was home, getting stimulus checks, getting back to stuff they liked, nostalgic things. So it was a fun time as far as collecting.
As far as collecting and as far as content creation, it was the boom era. It was I would love to have seen it extended, but for the reasons why I
no
see that ever again.
I'm with you. I would rather not. Yeah.
We've got another question from Circumstance. What are some comic book statue channels that you love that you think should get more eyeballs on them?
Rock and Robbie should have more subscribers and viewers. I think he's got the best comic book reviews channel out, and the other stuff he does is super fun, like rewatch old horror movies or 80s movies or whatever. And I really I like his takes. He's a good ass guy. He's a good dude, man. Rock and Robbie, Pop Culture Philosophers. As far as statue channels, I'm jealous of the amount of content that Batman Statue Collector puts out. When I'm in Gem Mint like Prime mode, it'll be putting out as much content as he's putting out. So I look at him as like, yo, that's what I want to be doing. I want to be dropping boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's kind of what I used to do. But he's doing it now, and he's so hungry. I'm like, yo, I wish I had that hunger right now. I'm trying to get it back. Go ahead.
I was a little shocked that Robbie didn't have a larger fan base than he did.
It might have something to do with the way he's putting out the content. I don't know. Maybe that long type of video is just not, conducive to YouTube's algorithm. And if he found a way to maybe even release that, like how we talked about a podcast, but then maybe release clips of like the popular books or something like that, maybe that can help the channel grow a little bit. But he deserves it because he's got the knowledge, he's got the personality, he's a good guy, and he knows his shit. And
I heard from Bueller, he's got a killer place down south.
I know Bueller. I was jealous Bueller got to go there.
Yeah, that's actually one of the places when I make my way down there, I'm going to make a point of visiting, just because he gave such a raving review of it. So I definitely want to check it out. But definitely two great channels that you brought up.
Yeah. And I want to give a shout out to the Extreme channel, my guy Mr. X. If he does watch this and he sees that I didn't shout him out, he'll be extremely upset. That's my guy too. He is he does more statue reviews than I do by far. He reviews like crazy pieces. He's a little bit of an acquired taste, and I think he knows that. But he's a really good dude, man. I talk to him all the time on the
what's the name of the channel again?
The Extreme channel.
All right, people, we got to go check out the Extreme channel.
XTRE. It's extreme, like 90s extreme sports.
All right, so he's bringing it back to the 90s with his title. So we definitely got to check him out. I've never seen that channel, so you just introduced something to me that I never heard about. So
look, you know how I always want I say I want my videos to be professional. He's the opposite. I watch his videos right in the intro. I'll be like, I would never say what he just said.
That sounds like my kind of guy.
Yes, I think you would like him. He doesn't hold his tongue, and he's an obnoxious guy who's got a big wallet, but he's got a lot of passion too, man. And he's a good guy.
So you're saying I'm obnoxious, and I would like him, huh?
I think so.
Oh, okay, no problem.
No, but seriously, I think you would respect the way that he conducts his business, like the way that he puts his videos out, and it's definitely it's like the opposite of a Gem Mint video as far as keeping it professional and this and that.
All right, sounds like my guy. I got to check him out. So
He's
what
a
the
good
hell
guy.
is this question over here? Question: do you prefer copium or hopium? The hell kind of question is this?
I think that's one of those terms that people use against each other. Like, I don't know, cope. You got to deal with it. I don't know.
I don't
Do
know.
I prefer
don't
cope?
understand this question. I don't.
Stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
See what you did? You made Trump come out with that question.
No, but I think I definitely don't deal with copium. I'm never gonna feel bad about myself and I can't do this. It's kind of like what you said earlier. Like I have hopium. Like I'm always like, if I see something that's really successful that I want to do, I'm like, yo, how do I do that? Not why is it not me? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the difference between copium and hopium. Like I have hopium. I'm always like, yo, how do I do that? And try to learn and try to better myself.
You know what? It gives you inspiration. That's basically what it is. Motivation,
sure.
inspiration, and drive to achieve higher levels.
Yeah,
So well, yeah, that's exactly what the problem is.
But I think that always everywhere though. It's not just New York. I don't think.
New York is special.
Yeah,
New York is special. We are a special place with a lot of special things going on over here that you don't see in a lot of other places in the country.
Yeah, but I learned this from working at the power company because people would call all the time, turn the power off. I got squatters in there, but you can't. You have to go through the eviction process, even if they were never a tenant. If they just happen to be holed up in there or whatever, like you have to go through the eviction process. It's crazy, and that's like the one thing that has really stopped me from investing in real estate. Just scared of tenants.
Well, you know what it is. You got to know the plan. The key is to know the laws better than the tenants know the laws, because there's a lot of professional tenants that know the laws better than the landlords. And
I just feel like
better than the lawyers.
I just feel like that first one has got to be successful, because if you have a bad tenant off your first one, it's going to be hard to come back from that, man.
How would you feel about this if you start seeing bootleg Gem Mint shirts running around?
Nah, that would mean I'm doing something right. That would also mean that I'm slacking on putting out my own merch.
I agree with both. I definitely agree. There is a flattery as far as people wanting to.
If there's a demand for it, then you got to be the one supplying it and do it better than whoever's bootlegging you.
Absolutely. So get on it, because people are going to start. You know what? If I don't see Gem Mint stuff, I'm going to start bootlegging it.
Do it. Get the demand up.
Going to start bootlegging your shirts, and you're going to see what's going to happen. We're going to dominate the Gem Mint merch market. Just making sure that I'm not missing any other questions. We got a question by DJ Links. Why is Wu-Tang Clan better than the Bone Thugs?
I'll argue this forever. I was arguing with one of my guys on Instagram, Stevie Steels. Bone Thugs is the best rap group of all time. First of all, Bone Thugs and Harmony are relatives and close friends from an early age. I love Wu-Tang. First of all, I just watched, I'm watching the last season of their show on Hulu. But these were just guys that came together. They didn't really even know each other compared to guys that grew up with each other and are related to each other and all rapped similar and had a unique style that they all shared. I could go on and on why Bone Thugs is the best group, man. Not even close for me. But I do agree that between the two of them, they both have two of the most iconic logos in rap history, whether it's that Bone Thugs logo with the old English font or the Wu-Tang W.
Well, they both have some great logos. But I think we found the one thing in this entire stream that we are complete polar opposites about as far as that argument is concerned.
Why are they better? Tell me why Wu-Tang is better than Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Why? Because you take any individual person from that Wu-Tang Clan and they're gold all by themselves. You put them together.
So hold on. All right. Crazy Bone, Busy Bone, both have platinum albums. So disagree with you there. And they have their stronger members and weaker members, just like Wu-Tang. Well, okay, continue.
We got Redman.
Redman ain't even part of Wu-Tang, man.
He was part of Wu-Tang. We got Ghostface Killer.
Ghostface is nice, yeah.
Yeah. We got the late great Old Dirty Bastard.
He is the most unique one. Yo, he's crazy on that Hulu show too. What is it? Wu-Tang American Dreams. Look, here's the thing. Wu-Tang came out and they did something unique as far as having an 8-man, 9-man group. RZA's production was crazy. Method Man was a bona fide star, but they still rapped like a lot of other rappers out. Bone Thugs and Harmony came out, they rapped fast, they sang, they had melodies, and it was something that you never heard before. And they had crazy themes as far as like the whole Ouija board stuff. They had a lot of mystique around them. I could go on. They had their own record label, they had their own groups, they had their own artists, and we could talk about, we got to look at the records, the worldwide record sales, because I think Bone might have Wu-Tang on that. I think Bone's like 40 million records worldwide or something like that. Wu-Tang might have more. Oh, let me see. How do you search this up, man? We need a
Are we gonna do who sold more albums? Is that what we're doing right now?
Wu-Tang and worldwide record sales. But see, they have a lot of.
I'll do the Bone Thugs.
Okay, hold on. Wu-Tang Clan sold over 11,400,000 albums. That's 65 million in the United States, 560. Okay, whatever. Wu-Tang Forever went 6-time platinum. All right, you got. Let me know when you have Bone Thugs and Harmonies up.
I'm bringing that up right now. Where do you look at? Wiki?
Yeah.
Is that where you find the records?
Worldwide.
All right.
I just Googled it.
Wikipedia was the first thing that popped up.
Bone Thugs and Harmony sold over. It says 14,800,000 albums, which is wrong. They sold. It was like 40 million.
Well, it can't be wrong because Google said it's not wrong. So the Wu-Tang.
Well, either way, it says more than Wu-Tang. It says 14 million. Wu-Tang says 11. Anyway, record sales ain't everything, but yo, that's an argument I'm willing to have with somebody, man. Bone Thugs and Harmony is the best group of all time. Period. Innovation. The rap game ain't been the same since Bone Thugs and Harmony came out, with the way that all these guys are rapping and singing and using melodies. That changed. I think that was a bigger impact to the game than Wu-Tang's style. I mean, they had a lot of unique slang and a lot of metaphors, a lot of abstract lyrics, and they had a lot of great talent, man. Like I said, Ghostface, Raekwon, Method Man, they're all stars for sure. But I would say the same thing about Busy Bone, or even more so with Busy Bone.
And you're right. I don't know why I said Redman in the beginning. I basically,
you lost the whole argument right with your first response.
No, you know what the thing was. I keep associating that Method Man Redman album that they did together, and for some reason in my head, I always associated them with each other. But
see, and when I was young, I saw Method Man do stuff with Redman. That made me take Method Man a little less serious. I was like, dang, man, he was doing songs with the Wu. But that was kind of like his drinking buddy, but they smoked instead of drank. It was like his smoking buddy that made fun songs together. So I got it. I was like, yeah, I mean, have fun, live a life. But I always like that cold Method Man, that raw Method Man that was on the on the Wu project.
The MATHOD man, that one.
That one.
Yeah,
yes,
but
sir.
I don't know. Maybe it's the New York in me.
It is. You're biased. You're biased. See, I was born in the Northeast, but I spread out, man. I was a big fan of all music, man. I was big into East Coast. I was big into Bone Thugs, then down south. Well, I think actually West Coast first, because it was like Dr. Dre, The Chronic, Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style, and then Bad Boy blew up and kind of put New York on the map.
See, even when Bad Boys blew up, I was still a Wu-Tang guy for some reason. Like I appreciated whatever Biggie and Puffy did. Biggie was great, but the Puffy stuff and that whole thing, but I always liked just the raw crap that Wu-Tang would put out there, and just like Ghostface Killer. That album was, for me, probably him and Raekwon were probably the two best albums that they came out.
Are you watching this Wu-Tang American Saga show?
I haven't started yet. So
you gotta watch this show. It's great. They show the making of that album, kind of like, there's creative liberties taken for the show, but the way they execute it is really dope.
I definitely want to binge watch it, and basically, you're not the first person that actually told me to take a look at it. So I definitely want to check it out. Just checking out if we got any more questions, because I don't want to. Yeah, all right. I fumbled. All right. I had a mental lapse. All right. That's what happens. Okay. I screwed up. That's what happens when you're thinking on the spot and you're doing things without a script and you're live. That's what happens when you're live. Do you understand that? That's what happens.
I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. And thing sucks.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3. All right. I'm big enough to say I made a mistake. Okay. I'm getting older. I'm getting senile. Things happen. You know, I'm freaking. I just turned 46-year-old. My brain's not working the same way. And I had a hard day at work today. It was a little
Sorry to hear
snowy. You know, things happen. You know, I caught myself before I caught the comment. Okay, so don't give me shit, DJ Links.
At least you told on yourself. I thought you were trying to tell me who they were affiliated with. Like that was supposed to be some kind of brownie point or something.
No, I started to run through names, and for some bizarre reason or another, the first album that came to my head was the Redman Method Man album. I don't know why, but hey, it happens. All right, I got one last question that I see here, and then we'll probably leave you alone. Question: did you know the only reason that Comic Journey has this show was an influencer? You better damn believe I wish I was an influencer, and I don't shy away from anybody calling me an influencer. Do you shy away from being called an influencer, Jem?
Yeah, I guess I don't really like the term. It doesn't sound like a positive term. That's not how I see myself.
Why?
I don't know, because to me, when you think of
read the dictionary, it's not a bad term.
Well, first of all, what's weird is that I've been doing this for like 5 years, right? Or maybe more. I think it's coming up on 6 years. And I never heard that term until like last year. And at first, when I heard it, it was in a positive way. And I was like, okay, influencer, I guess that's a new thing. But then it kind of took a negative twist. But it always felt to me like somebody trying too hard or being cringe or not being authentic. And I'm like, that's not what I'm trying to be. I'm just trying to share things that I think are cool. I've always been a channel that was like showing things that I like. You know, there's channels out there that highlight the positive. There's channels that highlight the negative. And the negative can be more lucrative even, man. A lot of these channels, it's this sucks or they hate that or da-da-da-da. But that's just not how I'm really wired. So it's really like, yo, I thought this statue was cool as hell. Let's look at it together. And that's why when I do have a negative review, they've always really took off, because it's not really typical for me to dislike something. So when I'm like really anticipating it or something that I bought because I liked, and it comes out, becomes broken or came not as I expected, that natural being pissed off reaction, which was just funny at the time. I think the video's ruined, but then those videos always did the best.
Well, you know what? I find it very difficult to understand how a group of individuals, of weirdo Gen Zers or millennials or whoever it was, that they decided collectively to say influencer is a bad word. Because when I grew up as a kid, you know who was an influencer? The president of the United States.
Michael Jordan. You want to be like Mike?
Yeah. People that had a positive type of impact on people. Some type of role model, somebody that influenced you in a positive way. Not Charles Barkley, because he's not a role model. He said that on the commercials. So you get what I'm saying? Like, so why should I shy away from being called?
Well, I'll tell you why. Okay, so my main thing on the channel is statue reviews, right? So when I'm reviewing a statue, it's to give you the information that you need to know whether or not you want to buy it or not. I feel like an influencer would only be like, you need to buy this, you need to buy this. I'm trying to influence you to do something, or influence you not to buy it. But I always looked at my channel like, yo, these are the facts. This is what I think about it. And how I always end the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just here to give you my opinion, share with the pros and the cons, and let you make your own decision. So the fact that saying somebody is an influencer is like saying that people are being influenced. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that anybody should be influenced or aspire to influence people to do anything. I think you share your opinion. People can agree with you or not.
Well, I'm a true believer that we're all influencers in our own ways.
Yeah, and being influential is fine. Inspiring people, I think I would rather hear that than saying that you're an influencer. If someone says, Jem, you inspired me to lose weight, that feels good. But if someone says, Jem, you influenced me to quit my job and try YouTube full time, I'd probably be like, oh, damn, was that a good idea? Like, are you sure you got this, bro? Like, I feel like there's a difference there.
So let's say somebody stamped you with that label of being a weight loss influencer. Would that upset you?
I was kind of worried that that's what it might turn into if I started doing that kind of content. Like, oh, here comes this. Now he's going to be a weightlifting influencer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but sometimes you're influential and you're an influencer without even saying a word. People just follow by actions.
I think if I inspired you, I'd rather that.
All right, so we got to try to develop some kind of word that invokes inspiration. That's
Well,
basically what
the funny thing about the term is like I would, you know what, I wouldn't mind using it in a professional setting. I'd rather say at a business meeting, oh, I'm a comic book influencer, rather than, oh, I'm a YouTuber. YouTuber always sounded like you're a loser. You know what I'm saying? To me, like telling people I was a YouTuber was like, you know, it's embarrassing, you know? So I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel
you
like
live in your mom's basement and you make videos all day and you scratch your ass and you work at
whatever, right?
who knows,
Right. So I mean, YouTuber, but then I would say content creator sounded more professional than YouTuber. But
Well,
yeah,
here's
content
the
creator
thing.
is probably the most professional.
I hold influencers in a different category. Then I have a section of manipulators, which I borrowed from Keep It Thorough. He actually coined that word as far as taking away that word, as far as being a bad word, as far as influencers. Saying the proper word is manipulators, which is true because they manipulate the market in the way. And then I have douchebags, So there's different sections. I don't think we should dirty the word of influencer, but we'll find a better word, a more inspirational word to be able to spread the love, because some weird group of name changers decided to influence that word in a bad way. So
I think a lot of these anti-influencers better be careful before they become influencers themselves.
well, yeah. And the funny thing is, the ones that are screaming from the mountaintops, yelling at people about being influencers, are the ones aspiring to actually become that next Mr. Beast.
Well, they're trying to influence people to think the way that they think, which is that's an influencer. See, I don't ever try to get people to think the way that I think. I just present the product if I'm reviewing something, or the story, and I let people, give you my take on it, but make the decision for yourself.
Yeah, reverse influencing. That's what it is. It's reverse
it's anti-influencer. That's how I look at it.
There you go. Anti-influencing. There you go. See, we got to the bottom of a very controversial kind of topic today. We accomplished something. I think we accomplished a lot of things. We got to know you a little bit better. I think the community, although majority liked you, I think some more like you as well now. Or
Hey,
at least
listen,
know you.
Here's my thing. Not everybody's gonna like you. I think people that know me for real on here, like DJ and people that follow me and watch my live streams, they already know what I've been about the whole time. It might be people that have a different perception, maybe because they're looking at you at a different point in time. They didn't see your come up. You know what I mean? They didn't see your live streams where you talk personal. I've always been like an oversharer. I tell people everything. So I think it's a lot of people that don't really know you like that. But here's my thing. What I always tell people, before YouTube took away the dislike button, I would say go to your favorite song on YouTube and look how many dislikes it has. That just shows you right there that everybody is never going to be on the same page. And some people are going to like you and some people aren't going to.
It's just how it is. Yeah,
some people actually think Wu-Tang is a better group than Bone Thugs and Harmony. Can you believe that?
Well, I would tend to believe those are very intelligent people that believe that.
To me, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I would really, really believe that. I strength in numbers. Let's look at it from that aspect. Strength in numbers. Quantity versus quality. There you go. We got
that's quality. What Wu-Tang is. Wu-Tang got the quantity.
No, they got the quality too.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
You're not gonna fight the. You're not gonna fight the quality of Wu-Tang.
Look, and I love Wu-Tang, man.
We had a couple duds, but for the most part, they were pretty damn.
We had a couple duds on our side too.
And they got how many people do you, have you seen accomplish pulling off making an album with a damn welfare card as their cover and freaking platinum?
Well, Dirty is a different thing altogether. I think the show really paints a good light on what his mentality was like. Man, he was a unique artist for sure. Man,
he was bonkers. Yeah, he was bonkers in a great way.
Yeah. For fans though, I bet you it was frustrating as hell to be RZA, because that's your cousin too, and it's like you got to keep this guy in line. Doesn't show up. He's getting in all kinds of shit. It It must have been frustrating for those working with him. But he was just a free soul, man. He was just free. Like, I don't know.
It must have been a wild time for that group. All right, I got one last question, and then we're gonna get the hell out of here. I'm just gonna give one last question to you.
I was on here longer than I thought I was gonna be, man. To be honest.
Sorry, did I keep you too much?
No, that means the conversation was good. If the conversation was boring, we would have been out.
You know, I'm gonna do what the kids say. Sorry, not sorry, because I like talking to you. All right, and I think everybody loves talking to you. But I'm sorry. I apologize.
We talked about some things that I didn't really find the right time and place to ever speak on. So we spoke on it a little bit, and it's cool.
And hopefully we shed a little bit light to everything.
Maybe.
All right, so let's get that last question in here. Hey, Jem, I was curious to see how you felt about talking down your explanation video. Okay, we're going back to that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, it made me realize, like, because you say role in the community, but you got to understand, like, when you do this, you don't get a rule book or a manual. I never really came up doing this thinking, oh, I have a role in the community. Like, I was just making videos, working on growing my channel, making the best content that I can make, taking advantage of opportunities that come up. And then, yeah, you get to a certain point where other people now look at you like this or that. And you got to learn that some people do look at you like that. And I think the biggest thing for me was, like, I stopped replying to people that make negative comments, because the first thing they do is screenshot it and share it on their story. So I'm like, yo, this is really, like, exciting you that you think that it even matters what I said to you, even though you said some off the wall shit, to paste it. Like, oh, that's when I kind of realized, oh, like, I don't even need to be responding anymore. It's like it's different than what it was when you first started. So I look at that different now. I try not to talk about other content creators anymore, because I don't want to say something that shines a light over on them where that might not have been what they asked for. And sometimes I can shine a big light, so that's something I learned from there as well. You know what's funny about that video too, is that I've made a lot of from the heart videos like that before that really resonated with people, but this was the first time that it kind of didn't resonate with most of the people. So it was kind of like, oh, you're not always right, or your point isn't always the majority point, or whatever. So it was a learning experience in many ways, man. But again, the reason I took it down, I always stand on what I said and how I feel about topics. It was really more so putting that light onto other people who never asked for it to be shined on them. And that was the biggest lesson I learned from that.
And plus, it was an impulse thing. It was an impulse thing, because I didn't like the fact that people who weren't there were speaking on it. Like, I was there, bro. And that is not how that went down. So that's what made me get, like, wanting to even speak on it. But, it happens. Human error. Like, some people that might say Method Man is part of the Wu-Tang Clan,
Red Man.
Happens.
But a lot of people that I'm friends with during that time, would hit me up like, what do you think about that? And I used to be like, I should have just shut the fuck up. That's what I thought about. I should have just shut the fuck up. But I try to give my point of view, and it was a lesson learned, man, for sure.
Hey, it happens. It is what it is. You moved on from it. We talked about it a little bit before. Damn you! Stop with the fumbles, Links. All right, you're making it hard for me to be a supporter. All right, you're my Brooklynite boy here on YouTube, but you're making it hard. You make me making the Queens versus Brooklyn battle with you now. Like, I don't want to do that. Don't make me fumble anymore. I messed up. All right, no more. All right. So I think we said a lot. Maybe we said a little bit too much. I don't know. But for all intents and purposes, I think we had a really, really great conversation. I think the chat got a lot more out of you that they haven't heard yet. And that's all we wanted to accomplish. Get another little piece of that Gem Mint action. So I'm going to do something that, YouTubers are supposed to do. And I'm going to play us off with my intro again. And why am I going to do that? Because I want to be able to put little things at the end screen, and I don't want to block us off when we do it.
And plus, it kind of it bookmarks the interview, right? It's like you got the sandwich, both sides of the bread.
I see, with great minds think alike. So until next time, people, I appreciate you all. You have all of Jim Mint's information inside that description. You could go to his IG, his whatnot, and YouTube, and love him and hate him and do everything you like to him. But just go sub him and do that thing,
Or not.
or whatever.
No, I'll tell you like this. If you like statues and you want to see the best statue reviews on YouTube, you could come to the channel. If you're interested in Omnibus, I have a large collection that I like to read and share with you all. Share new ones when they come in. I was doing the weekly comic book day reviews. I do think I'm going to bring that back in some way, shape, or form, but not in the way that it was before, though. But yeah, man, if you like that kind of stuff, check me out.
And Comic Journey does endorse that. All right, so there you go. You got a Comic
Boom.
Journey endorsement.
What more can you ask for?
That's all you can ask for. All right. Good night, people. I appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
And at the same time, you did get a CBC award last year, and
yeah,
I believe you might get another one this year. So that's it.
We'll see,
no
man.
more. Don't distract me anymore. I'm trying to end the damn show. Good night, people. All right. Good night.
Bone Thugs for life.
It's all about Wu-Tang.
Boom, 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 boom.
I think I gotta play the ice cream man.
All up in your gut. Chocolate deluxe. I thought it was. Outcast is number 3. Top 3. Dead or Alive. Yeah.
All right, baby. Protect your neck.
Boom, 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 boom.
I want you to hear us.
We'll drop a freestyle. Biggie Shaq can't rap. I'll attack him on the mic like that. Destroyed in the battle.
Good night, people.
Peace.
We're ending the broadcast.